How is it going, everybody? Welcoming you to the semi-finals between the Bloodbath Bay Buccaneers. I have a Franker Z in the background. Between the Bloodbath Bay Buccaneers and the Australian Outback. Will the Buccaneers find a way to squashbuckle the Australian Outback in their perfect season? Or will the Australian Outback do to Bloodbath Bay what they have done all season, take their foes out back? Welcoming everybody to the commentary booth. My name is Shadows, and if you hear a sexy voice that's not mine, that is courtesy of Mr. Sly Ostrava. How you doing, my good friend?
Doing good. Happy to be here, everyone.
Likewise, very, very happy to be here. Very happy to be back in this tournament. So great to just see everybody back in action, to see everybody in chat getting all riled up, and to see that the playoffs have been going very well. Of course, I'm not praying for the downfall of anyone's team, but we've seen a lot of parity already with the Venice Vipers downing the, what was it, why is that escaping me at the point? The Jackalopes. My gosh, it's too early at night, apparently. It's dark and my brain is being fooled into thinking it's much later at night than it actually is. But Ostrava, tell us a little bit about what you're expecting to see here from the ban pick phase from both teams.
Honestly, it can be a toss-up between the two teams. You can easily see that the Outback might get cornered here by the Buccaneers. They've definitely grown to be a bit more flexible as a team and have, with Nave and Mappy, they have a very wide breadth. Both the Professor has definitely been expanding their horizons as a more, not new runner, but a amateur Sly Cooper runner.
You know, it's definitely been interesting to see the uprising of both of these teammates as we see a few of the initial episodes getting banned here. We're seeing a few from Sly 2, 4-1, my beloved, gone, unfortunately. But yeah, I think that's something that I say a lot, both of these teams have been able to kind of pride themselves on is that besides just having one teammate that's really good at one game, respectively, I think they just kind of pride themselves all on versatility. I think you can't really like blanket one whole team without blanketing an entire game. And even then, we've seen countless times with the Outback, like Beaver and Tootsie can just absolutely combo Sly 2 with 2-6 and 2-7. They've done that multiple times throughout this season. As we see the Buccaneers here, without a doubt in my mind, that's a Knave pick as they're going to 3-3. That's going to be very interesting. And I want to see if we can, yeah. Sorry, were you going to say something about that?
Just got to see what the Outbacks come here. They've definitely eliminated a lot of the mid, well, not the, but the mid game of Sly 2 itself. So
Yeah,
2-2 itself is frustrating to run. 2-4, 2-5 can be pretty frustrating. 2-3 is a pretty popular pick, but it can give a easy advantage to either team having a pretty similar playthrough. So understandable there.
Yeah, definitely so. I'm a little interested to see that they blanketed the end game of Sly 3. I guess they didn't really want to deal with that. And also 4-5, one of the more popular Sly 4 episodes. I would not be surprised at all for the Outback if we see a 2-6 or a 2-7 here. Like I said, that's what they've been doing. But they're actually going to go a little bit of a different route. They're going to go back to 4-2, which we've seen quite a lot in this tournament, much to people's dismay. But I'm thinking for the team's sake, that's most definitely where Beaver's going to go, and that's going to be a tough one for the Bucks to really combat with, even with Mapiotto's skill in that game.
I'm pretty sure Mapiotto will take 4-2 here. Overall, most experience with Sly 4, at least of his team members. And I know he's definitely worked hard to get these most up-to-date strats in 4-2 done, since he puts a lot of effort into it.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Mapiotto just such a rising star when it comes to Sly 4, and just it's been really cool to see kind of how from a few years ago he was a big up-and-coming face in the community, to see his growth as both a runner and a glitch hunter. He's discovered a lot of new things, and he's definitely contributed a lot to the scene. As we see a lot of Sly 2 almost getting blanketed with only 2-1 and 2-6 on the board. The Buccaneers do have the last pick. I would think, what do you even do there? I would imagine this is 2-1 for Professor, maybe 2-6, but what are you feeling about that?
Honestly, it depends. I know Professor can both do 2-1 and 2-6, but it comes down to comfortability and what you can do. Like 2-6 is a shorter episode, in my opinion, overall easier. Since 2-1's the cornerstone of like basic movement itself, any like big mistakes you make, like such as like messing up during Dimitri or even messing up table clip, can put you way behind somebody.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of big tricks. And like you said, that's sort of just Sly 2 in a nutshell with all of those big swings. And there's definitely a very high skill ceiling. So props to Professor for kind of being the man to mainly take up that mantra for the Buccaneers, at least throughout the entire season. And I was almost thinking they were going to go 2-6 actually, but no, they do end up going 2-1. I would imagine that is probably the one that Professor's more comfortable with. But Ostrava, I do think you had a great point there. I do think that as somebody who I haven't ran Slide 2 a lot myself, but it's all about comfortability. And I also don't know if Professor was willing to take on Tootsie and Beaver in episode 6 if the team was willing to take that on, given how they've absolutely destroyed that episode in this tournament. But yeah, order here is going to be very interesting. We've got a really good lineup of episodes. 3-3, I'm thinking, is probably going to be the biggest chances for swings just because of all of the RNG with ACES and with a few other jobs there. So
Yeah,
it's going to be cool.
yeah, Sly 3 itself is overall pretty not unpredictable, but it's very difficult. It's in my opinion, it's the hardest game to run out of the whole entire series. So it's very easy to make mistakes, and it's hard to recover at them from times, and just something you get within time. With a 2-1, I'm sure that the Buccaneers weighed the pros and cons of the possibly the time loss they're going to take there, but I think they can gain it back in 4-2 3-3 because pretty sure Tootsie's going to go for Fall Dimitri Super Jump, which is a huge time save. If somebody messes table clip, that's about 25 seconds, depending on how quickly they can get it. So you're looking at some like very obvious time. Then there's like general lines and stuff like that where the time's going to just change up. So I think they're doing the safer option overall, but I think they're expecting to take some go behind overall. Probably try to take it in the end at least.
hmm No, and I definitely think that now that 3-3 is the ending episode, I think that's going to lead to a lot of interesting developments. And like you said, I don't think they need to play perfectly in every episode. I don't think they need to outright beat the Buccaneers. I don't think they outright need to beat the Outback in every single episode. I do just think 3-3, I think, like I said, it's so interesting because Nave has really been great with that episode, but we've seen Bites run that at least once across this entire season. I think he may have ran it multiple times. But like you said, I do think that's a big opportunity for Swing, which they could definitely need because I'm not doubting Professor in 2-1. I think 2-1 is a very great episode to run. And I think we'll see a lot of great practice potential come out from there. But it's just, yeah, it's going to weigh a lot depending on who hits what tricks. And besides what you already mentioned, like table clip, which can lose a lot of time, or follow Dimitri super jump, you also have some stuff just like making sure you get the right camera angles for briefcases in, what is it, Destroy the Alarms. But hopefully that's not that hard at this point. And listen to me talk, right? I'm not even a slide 2 runner saying that. But yeah, as we get set to go here, I'm really excited to see how this turns out. And Ostrava, I'm really excited to see how you lead into the developments of this as well, because you've run this episode quite a bit, haven't you?
Episode 1, yeah, I've run it quite a bit. I'm not at the top level of running episode 1. I still learning my fair share of getting Fall Dimitri Super Jump down consistently, but I've ran this episode quite a bit personally.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's like I said, I think it's a really cool episode, definitely one of the most popular in the game. I think this is probably one of the Sly 2 episodes that I'm more comfortable commentating with. This is a game I really need to do a full game attempt of soon. Hopefully by 4-2 and 3-3 I'll be able to give a bit more analytical insight because I've run those games quite a bit. 3-3 especially, I really love that episode. As far as watching it, playing it's a different story, but we'll see who comes out on top as we get underway here. Looks like the the Buccaneers, the quadruple Bs, they got a little bit of a head start. So on Restream, we're going to have to keep an eye on that. But yeah, not a whole lot to talk about as far as the first few jobs, besides like some basic stuff with satellite hitboxes and whatnot. I'm also kind of questioning what the Outback are doing here. They've been sitting in the safe house for about half a minute. I don't know if somebody didn't get the word or what's going on over there. There we go.
So either fairly large delay or some miscommunication. But very classic thing here, good old satellite sabotage cutscene skip. The classic unplug your controller and game pauses on the first available frame for you.
Unplug your controller, dog. I can't say the rest of that clip, but yeah, that's a very, very great strat. It's always just cool to see stuff like that finally be developed. And Australia, not exactly in a hole here, like you said. There's just so much room for time slaves. Slide two, if you get one thing wrong, it can be extremely punishing. In episode one, is kind of known for that. As you see, Tootsie, they're having a little bit of trouble with the movement, not really being able to square boost into the trigger.
Well, the thing is Tootsie was going for advanced movement tech there. He was trying to do a charge attack square boost, so he was trying to square boost out of the last frame of the charge attack to get its full speed into the square boost, which is quite tough depending on the collision you're actually on the floor.
So does that just work? I was gonna say, so that just works, like, it doesn't work everywhere because I've only ever seen that done off of like certain slopes. I feel like I know there's an old com world somewhere, maybe it's still the current com world, where Hexu, he does that kind of movement off of one of the little window sills on the roof, and he gets a decent boost off of that. But I didn't think it was
Just like
faster, and we
Tootsie.
just saw, yeah,
Yeah, Tootsie
nailed
just
it there.
so how that square boost itself works is if you fall off of a ledge, you actually you slide goes into the falling animation, so you lose all that speed from it. So you actually have to. It's best to get to the closest edge as a ledge as you want if you want to make a jump in particular. But in just in general, you can do it at any time. It's just very tough to time since the charge attack itself is very finicky. Not really finicky, but it's just weird to time. It's something you have to practice very drill it every time in every instance you're going to use it to get used to the timing of when to time your square boost.
I feel like the charge attack in Sly 2, it definitely can kind of be like that, where depending on the situation, it always feels like it. I don't think this is the case. Obviously, I think it is consistent, but the muscle memory for it is kind of weird. Like, you have to know when to let go of it when you're falling off ropes, and then when you're doing that, and then you also can't hold it too long when you're doing glitch high jumps, although that's not particularly difficult, but still, there's a lot of different applications for it. And speaking of applications, we are going to see Professor most likely set up the table clip here. It looks like he's doing the optimal strategy to try and kill the rats. So we'll see if he can set this up. And he doesn't get it.
Was he was a little too far away. I think he didn't realize that one of the rats got killed and just got a little bit behind. But no harm here. Just 25 seconds time loss. Overall, it's better than missing table clip and possibly losing up over a minute. If you actually void out.
Because you have, like, once you get below a certain point, you have no backup for that, right? Like, Sly doesn't fall fast enough to the point where he can go back and bounds. You're just utterly screwed.
Well, it depends. If you're high enough at the air, the game will reset you. It's the issue is if you fall below a certain
Boy.
point, you'll just fall permanently into the void. That's getting pretty far launch, but recovering and going into the hallway.
Yeah, thankfully not voiding out there. I was almost worried that you were gonna commentator jinx it and he was gonna void out, but luckily avoided it by Tootsie. I don't think that's the most optimal way to do it, falling into that room, but he did thankfully save it, and like you said, that's a heck of a lot better than the alternative.
The thing is with table clip, it's just sometimes it's your reaction time's poor and you get a far launch, or the game gives you a launch even though you did things correctly. So Tootsie just doing a very good job reacting to what he was given.
It's incredible to see. Like, I feel like Tootsie, he wasn't a name you heard until a couple of years ago, but even then, the pace at which he has gotten great at the game is just unbelievable, and he's really made some huge strides. So give the man some credit. He's been an absolute force for this team. And he's a big reason why that they are in the position that he is in. Is he clip
Tootsie
sound?
Ba uh,
Did he
I
just
think
discover
Tootsie's
episode one skip? You trying to do
mm,
it? Like,
I don't think there's an episode 1 skip here. I think Tootsie's
I
just
don't.
having a fun time of taking the photos from inside the area.
Oh my gosh! Like, I knew you could do that. I thought you could only ever do that with paraglider. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that with just glitch high jumps and slope jumps. And did he?
Yeah, he just did a slope
Oh,
jump, then he, um, just, yeah, did a slope jump, then did the clip with the with the, Banaki-com. The thing is you're safe here as long as you don't hit Dimitri. If you hit Dimitri, you, set the trigger for the fight to start and the game, hard blocks.
right. Which that's what Nish showed off in the famous clip a while ago. Now, what I'm more interested in, okay, he just warps back. I was almost worried that, like, is he gonna be stuck in that room and he's not gonna be able to walk back? But I guess with a player of his skill level, he definitely would be aware of that, and he never would have done it if he had clipped out. So Tootsie, I think he ended up losing a little bit of time there because he had to jump around a tiny bit off the ledge grab to take all the
D
photos. But what's
Tootsie
up?
lost no time there. You actually have to wait for, Bentley's lines to play no matter what, and before you can take the photo of Dimitri anyway, so all that fun time, instead of sitting there waiting, he was waiting to get into the meme position there.
But don't the Bentley voice lines only end like once you're at the tail end of the picture, or how does that work?
So what happens for that very first photo, once you enter in, Bentley there's a voice line that Bentley's telling you how to, use the
Yeah.
Binocucom and, like,
So
that.
yes, but
So
I'm
you
talking
can't
about
you
the wait time. I'm talking about the wait time between photos.
from that, sh maybe if he yeah, he may have lost a little bit of time just due to having to, like, maneuver in a different way compared to what people are used to. But yeah, probably trouble getting the 3rd pick, as Knudi says in the chat.
Yeah, because I didn't mean to cut you off there. Sorry, I understand what you meant beforehand. Like the initial Bentley voice line where he's like, tap the R3 button and take some photos, or what, however the line goes. That line, like the Dimitri picture, doesn't actually show up until that voice line ends. So yes, but yeah, as far as also, dude, freaking circle boost into that pipeline. This man just pulling out all the stops, but yeah, I mean, I think he definitely lost a little bit of time there. So we've seen kind of some weirdness from the Outback to start this race with the almost 30 seconds they just ate at the start. But at least now we have follow Dimitri, which if neither of our runners mess this up, and that's a pretty big if because this job can be pretty troublesome, but they should have a good time here. We'll see how this goes.
He set looks like he may be setting up for, yep.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to get the optimal position right over the job trigger for his super jump. He just had to wait for Dimitri to get to a certain spot so he didn't fail the job accidentally.
Yeah, Dimitri needs to be, like, as close as he possibly can to you while running that corner for you to actually get into position where you can, get on top of the job trigger itself. If not, you will fail the job there.
Also, did Professor, I'm sorry, I was looking over at Tootsie setting up the super jump. Did he actually super jump? Because I don't think he did. I think he's just, well, it doesn't
No,
matter
I
now.
I don't think he's set up the super jump. I think he's just, is trying to maintain his GSM as best as he can.
So does
'Cause the thing
this place up, this doesn't set your grounded position?
no, there's certain, like, since slides in, like, the tiptoe animation, there's a few places where that actually does it, but yeah, no, this so rarely normally doesn't set your grounded position.
Interesting. Then he should be perfectly fine up there.
Yep, he's just waiting for Dimitri to pass at this rate, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that definitely. As a casual player, like as a kid, that was always the spot I went to whenever I played this job. It's like I just figured out that you could go there, and then that's always where I ended up waiting until Dimitri actually went. So Tootsie over here doing the same thing, waiting for the voice line. He should be all right to just jump off and hopefully get the super jump for his case. I am interested to see where Professor ends up going here. I think, like you said, if that's accurate, then he should be perfectly fine? Question mark?
Yep, he'll be doing
He's
his
loading the game.
load and running back to the next trigger.
Did did he mess it up then? Because like that, he wouldn't have had to do that. He would have just fell in the water.
Yeah, he didn't, Professor didn't, go for, super jump.
Okay, that's right. My bad. Sorry. Once again, not the slide 2 aficionado here. Apologies for that, folks. Tootsie.
Ooh,
Yeah,
unfortunate Tootsie.
it's not that bad.
It's not bad. He got the single super jump, but just the game either didn't register his. I think he was thinking to press square, but you're grounded after a triangle attack like that. So if you do swing the cane, you just basically reinforce your grounded position. He just needed mash X at that point.
I see. So that's a little unfortunate. Yeah, sorry. Once again, I thought you were. I don't know why I thought you were talking about like the position he landed in. I'm like, oh, he's 2 centimeters away
You
from the
know,
ledge.
yeah, positioning was
Yeah.
fine. Like, the issue was his cane swing, because his cane interacted with the trigger instead of him uh, spiral diving into the trigger from above to where he could recover.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate, but still a really solid performance by both players thus far. Once again, I think the only real thing worth note is that Professor didn't go for the super jump. I'm also wondering, is he gonna do? He is gonna do spaghetti up his bum and doesn't get it, unfortunately. It's a really cool trick he could try and do with that same tech that Ostrava mentioned earlier, kind of using the charge attack to get some more speed and get over there. But look at how close this is. Australia had a freaking like 30-second buffer at the start, and we are like maybe 5 seconds apart. This has started out as a really good race.
Yeah, well, we don't know if still with probably with stream delay, they may be one may be ahead or not, but as of what we can see right now, they're both at the same point.
Most definitely. Now we have Murray in Silence the Alarms, which not a whole lot to talk about here. I feel like Murray's two jobs, once you kind of understand how they work in episode one, are kind of underwhelming. Like all you really do with him is you toss some rats into a giant blender, like blender or like the water vein, whatever you want to call it. And then you just kind of destroy some alarms, which once again, back in the day, I remember that was a really weird job with the briefcases and all. But yeah, once you kind of understand how you're doing, assuming the movement's all good and assuming the guards don't have any big mishaps, should be okay. Ostrava, what's the next like big job you're looking forward to as far as somebody maybe getting ahead?
Big things itself, would be next, even though it's probably unlikely to happen, Moonlight Rendezvous, somebody might accidentally swipe Neela, somebody might forget how to do optimal, movement with Neela, and after that, it'd be theater pickpocketing. Theater pickpocketing is a big one.
Mhm. Yeah,
But,
that I
just to
remember.
correct you here, we're in, water pump destruction right now, not, silence the alarms.
Did I say silence the alarms beforehand?
Yeah, you did,
Oh, I'm
that's next
sorry.
job with Murray.
Yes, I'm sorry. I was talking about both of them, but yes, water pump destruction. You are indeed correct. Thank you for catching that.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
be
did
the
that too.
resident Slide 2 runner if I didn't know the job names.
Uh, I've also just had a really bad habit of doing that throughout this entire tournament that I've been commentating. I really have the chat can kind of attest to this, but I've had a bad habit of like mixing up job names, and I think in Fly 2 I've especially been off with that. I think it was the first match I did of this tournament with Mr. Pokiyaki and Tootsie, or was it Tootsie who was playing? It was Nunavut, so it would have been Sneak. He was running episode 2, and I was messing up like Elephant Rampage and a bunch of other job names because I haven't played this game in so long. So yeah, a little bit of a blemish on my part as we see both of our runners get out and get to day 2. But yeah, happy to see Ostrava picking up my slack. It's great to have him in the booth.
Hmm. Stevens, remember chat, get your bingo cards. Enjoy some bingo during this wonderful match.
And then get rewarded with glorious VIP if you do get the bingo cards. It doesn't do anything really, but it makes you look cool, and looking cool is pretty cool in of itself. So please do the bingo cards. It's a fun game. Yeah, so I guess the job's coming up now that we are on Silence the Alarms, finally, right? We're on
Yep.
Silence the Alarms, like I said, once we've got the stuff down here, hopefully not too much trouble for either of our runners. I don't think, if all goes according to plan, we're not going to really see any big blemishes in Moonlight Rendezvous because the triangle attack outright can't hit Mila. I know that from the Slide 2 tutorial, which you guys should totally go watch by Gandy and Beaver. And I don't think they don't even have to collect any coins because you start with the power-ups. So really kind of two up their jobs until we get to the final stretch of this episode. So yeah, not a whole lot to say here besides just breaking the stuff, doing a little more optimal movement. There is Tootsie falling off the edge as he throws an object, as well as a little punch boost. Cool to see. All good on the Western Front. And the
See, only
briefcases were all
getting
there.
yep. So it's getting all three cases. Professor should be getting all three
Ooh.
cases.
Yeah, guard, they're kind of messing up his one briefcase there, and Professor opting to use a guard instead of a briefcase anyways, so a little bit of a mishap there, but once again, this is still paper thin. This is way too close to call, and it's going to be interesting to see if anybody messes up the Dimitri fight, if the fucking goes wrong.
Mhm. Uh, the thing is, like with Professor's GSM there, I taught him my GSM personally for his pace run. And he used that frog guard there because the thing is he would run a high risk of the guard attacking him and making him lose more time overall. So I taught him to be like, hey, if there's a guard next to you, pick him up and throw him out there. So
Yeah. And to your credit, I think also we saw Tootsie there just not even bouncing going on the very end of that little piece of geometry there and not bouncing, good for him. But yeah, to your credit though, Strava, I think Tootsie, that was actually the
나중엔 또
problem
다른
he
연장
just had was
종목이에요?
that because he
네,
went for the
저예요.
briefcase
그러면
instead of
그
the
의견
guard ended up
단순해요? 왜 나중엔
interrupting
오해해요?
his throw and he ended up losing a
드리프트처럼
little bit of time
꺼내기
there. So good on
국룰처럼
you. Like
클럽과
Strava
파킹 기술이
secretly in the
얼마나 큰
background
위협이
helping
되는지 알기
the
때문에
Buccaneers do a
클럽
victory.
횡단이
But
잘
yeah,
타게 되는 걸
cool to
원했어요.
see the
그러면
effect of the
더블
community
체킹에
going all around.
도구를
I think it's really
이용해요?
awesome.
그런 거죠. 하지만
Hey, I'm
당신을 믿을
always
수
down to
있으려면
practice slide 2
우선
with
당신이
anyone or
날
help
제대로
somebody out with
쫓아올 수
running.
있는지 알아야겠어요.
I might hit you up on that when I
찾으셨나요?
finally end up running this game in like 2027. It's
Yeah, I
been it's
gotta.
been it's been forever, but I have to do it eventually. I know. He'll come around.
But a good thing here, I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with how Neela functions here, but there's a few who may not. Once Neela crosses these ropes here, it is the objective of you to get as close to her as
Oh
possible so she runs
gosh.
across them quicker. But in general, while she's running normally, it's to stay away from her because she will stop to turn around and look at you, which uh, after a few times, you start losing quite a bit of time.
So that's giving me a heart attack here with some of his attacks. And like we said before, the triangle attack I've heard for a fact cannot hit Mila, and definitely with what Ostrava was saying, that's also very important here is kind of keeping your distance with Mila. You can't get too far away because then she'll be waiting like an angry woman at a Christmas party waiting for a margarita or something stupid like that. I don't know. She'll just wait for you and get really annoyed, and then you also can't get too close to her because then she'll just stop periodically. So that's really the main thing here for this job, especially in any percent, or yeah, well, in episode runs, I should say, where you don't really have to worry about collecting coins or anything. You're just trying to make her move along as fast as possible. And it looks like both of our runners here, experienced players, not really having too much trouble with that. So it's good to see.
Another big important thing with this job that like, you occasionally mess up is you move a little too quickly and you miss. Neela misses one of her triggers. The game doesn't consider her hitting it, so she just sits there and waits, and you fail the job. So
Ouch.
알았어요, 슬라이. 우린 잘할 수 있을 거예요.
it just happens
Fly.
sometimes.
난
You
영상
forgot to
없이는
cross over that one
디미트리의
brick,
나이트클럽에
Neela smirk. How
합법적으로
dare
들어갈
you?
수 없어요.
It's kind of
하지만
stupid, but
그의 뒷문 열쇠를
Celebi,
가지고
that is
있죠.
the game. And we
당신
don't have
같은
to deal with
사람이라면
Neela anymore
그런
for the
열쇠를
rest of
잘
this
활용할 수 있을
entire,
거예요.
like, I
우린
guess,
정말
yeah, for the
손발이
rest of
잘
this
맞는 것
entire
같군요.
match. I was going to say this entire tournament, but could very easily see her smile and mug again in future matches. But yeah, now we're on to Ostrava's fabled, famous, favorite job in theater pickpocketing. Finally got the name of the job right. Huzzah. And we're immediately going to see something pretty cool right off the bat in a cutscene skip, which you can make a little bit more consistent. I think, like almost perfectly consistent with a good PS menu buffer, which we saw Tootsie execute there. Hopefully, for Professor's sake, he's going to be able to pull this off as well. Neither of them hit the trigger, so they'll both have a shot at getting this cutscene skip where you can kill the guard and then move on. Tootsie gets it. And moment of truth.
Ooh,
Oh, uh-oh.
Professor was seen mid during his
Oh, no!
the guard just barely saw his foot went into the light there. It happens based off slice position. It's unfortunate once it does happen.
How much time does that lose?
Uh, the cut I forget how long the cutscene is. I think it's like 20, 22 like 20-ish seconds. But the thing is, he's gonna lose more time here
Oh,
because of having to kill the guard because it's gonna be bothersome.
that's right. Yeah. So is it not really like couldn't he have just smoke bombed and then pickpocketed the guard anyways, or is that a little bit slow?
The reason why you want to kill the guard there overall is to reset the guard's positions to where it's easier. Then also you have a full juice bar to where if you
Good
do
point.
encounter further issues throughout the job, you can recover.
I wasn't thinking like that, so very good on you. And smoke bomb, like from what I'm aware, it's one of the most expensive gadgets in the game as far as like juice consumption, right? It uses up quite a bit per usage. So having more of that is
Uh,
always appreciated.
yeah, with a full juice bar, you can use smoke bomb about 3 times
It's not a
before you
lot.
can. Yeah, comparable to Sly 3, which you can use a ton of it. Yeah, it's very useful, and I'm sure Sucker Punch knew that they don't want players to overuse it, so made it a bit more costly.
And then in Slide 3, they just wanted to put the training wheels back on, and so they made, like, guards pathetic, and then they made that a lot easier. But yeah, I get it. Smoke Bomb as a kid, especially in Slide 2, was one of my favorite gadgets. I just loved how powerful it was, and that was before I learned about all the power it had with cutscene skips. So definitely one of the coolest gadgets in the game, in my opinion, both in terms of casual play and as far as, you know, cutscene skip goes. Do you have a favorite gadget, Ostrava, or do you not really care for them too much?
My favorite gadget in the game is Feral Pounce just because of how broken it is.
That's a fair point. I love Feral Pants too. That's a really fun one.
Pounce boosting used in flying pounces. It's just insane.
Yeah, I see like throughout this run as well, especially on the side of Tootsie, we've seen just like all these tiny little bits of movement that I feel like are so freaking optimized. I haven't seen a lot of this before. It's just really cool to see how far this episode continues to come, even after all these.
Ooh,
Yeah,
just
having a
this
little bit
rolling
of
bomb there went a little too far.
I see. That's not even worth it at that point to go for the cutscene skip, right? That only saves like half a second, if any time.
It's like a second or two in Korean. It's just better to go for it because you are saving time overall if you can get it, but um,
Yeah, Disco Demolitions, this is such an interesting job. That first hallway alone, like, oh, I've tried that multiple times, and getting that movement down takes so much practice. Just like the amount of time you have to swipe your bomb after the second drop, quick scope the guard, and then do all of that in quick succession is very, a very small amount of time to do it. As we see Tootsie here having a little bit of trouble managing the guards, but he should be pretty okay as long as he doesn't fall down, as long as he's able to snipe these guards. He is. Do you have a backup if you fall down to, like, the lower level there, or are you just completely screwed?
the backup is if you do fall down there, you're just if you did use Sugar Bomb on Pillar 3, you'll explode that one, watch the cutscene, and you throw a Trigger Bomb up to Pillar 4, then explode it. If you don't have Trigger Bomb, you would have to run all the way back up there to hit it with a normal bomb.
Yeah, which I guess would only really be actually, no, that wouldn't even be a problem in 90% because you get Trigger Bomb before this job, and then in episode runs, you have it from the start nowadays because you can just buy all the gadgets, so I guess that's not really a problem nowadays, but it's good to know that there would be
Yeah,
a
not
backup.
anymore. Like back with like late Smoke Bomb route, which I can't believe I am old enough to say that the route, even though I think early Smoke Bomb was a thing once I first started. I just learned late
Olge.
Smoke Bomb first. Um, Unfortunately, somebody has some uh background noise
You
on their
Yeah, you
capture.
heard the little you heard the buzzing? I thought that was the call. I was like, "What is that?"
Uh, I'm guessing it's on Tootsie's side. I think it's the Dolby Digital sound in the PS3 itself. If that, for some reason, if that settings turned on, your PS3 will, your capture card will like record that chirping. It's annoying. I thought my capture card broke once that first happened to me.
It's good to know for future reference that my PS3 isn't breaking down if I ever hear that. Good to know it's
Yeah,
just
it's just the Dolby of like 5.1 surround sound. That sound setting's just like garbage. It's what causes that issue.
gotta love technology, right? Uh, I was just watching a weird video today about like Apple computers and the way that they make some of those things and like how easily some of those chips break is kind of stupid, just to give some comparison. But yeah, it's almost as stupid as the designer of that water pump who like all you have to do is turn 5 switches in no particular order and then the thing just breaks and the entire water system is just completely clogged up. So great design there if you were trying to make it hard to break, but
To my
speedrunners
knowledge,
appreciate it.
to my knowledge in alpha, that puzzle was a lot harder, but I think they realized that kids wouldn't figure it out, so they made it easy. But we're here in operation now. Tootsie having a little fun with the guards, messing up the little intended lure that we want to do for those two rat guards, and got spotted by the flashlight guard. Another thing to get into while we get through the less interesting parts of the operation, which is just like running in straight lines. Professor about to do the water tower movement here, making sure he lures Murray in the correct way where he defeats both guards to where you can just get on top of the water tower. but Professor not trusting of Murray, so is gonna make sure he defeats both guards.
Yeah, no, I've
Uh,
had some. Oh, wait, no, he did. Did he not drop a bomb on that guy? Oh, okay, something weird happened there.
he did.
I was gonna say I thought I saw him drop it, but I guess. Well, having a little bit, hopefully he's all right there. Professor, I don't think has played a bad race at all. Like I said, the one major blemish on this run, I'd say right now, is the missed cutscene skip. But besides that, I still think he's gotten a lot of stuff right. And of course, table clip also looms kind of large. So that's what does that add up to? Like about 40 seconds across the episode?
Yeah, about close to 50 overall
50.
so
All
far.
right.
For tabletop it's like 20, 25. Then probably with Peter pickpocketing, like with the additional type to kill that guard, and that probably another 25, so about 50 in total to be a quick assessment here.
You would know better than I do, like I said. So thank you for the insight as we head over to the Dimitri fight, which hopefully isn't going to cause too much trouble for either of our runners. This can be a little bit finicky if you're not able to hit smoke bomb, and especially like we previously talked about in this game, with you only having 3 uses of smoke bomb, or I guess like 3 or 4, about that number. It can be kind of hard to recover the fast strat if you don't really use it at the right time. Have you do you remember at all, like, Ostrava, when you started, did you struggle at all with this fight, or was it kind of just something that you picked up on pretty quick?
At first it was a little difficult from going from being somebody who played casually and more wasn't like I didn't have a lot of trouble fighting Dimitri. It was just getting Dimitri to do what you want as a speedrunner. It gets a little frustrating at times. Like I had troubles at first as being a first runner. I died a few times, but you just get used to the fight over time.
I think it's interesting to kind of see in this series especially, there's a lot of stuff like that where you see a lot of people do the optimal strat, and then when you first start out, you might be really good at hitting some big tricks, like you might have a really consistent setup for, I don't know, theater, pickpocketing, cutscene skip, and then you get to something like that, and you just realize that, wow, I'm really struggling with this. That could be kind of hard to swallow. I remember I just recently started running Sly 3 like within this year, and I just absolutely sucked at day one ACES semifinals. Funny enough that I'm mentioning that job in the ACES competition, but yeah, stuff like that. It's really just you have to watch people and you kind of have to understand the way, I guess, to really go about it is the best way I can put it. As we see, there he is. He's using smoke bomb. Okay, so now he's got it. Forgot you had to knock Dimitri down once to get it. Looks like Tootsie is
Very
using it
classic
correctly.
quick
Yeah,
kill Dimitri here.
yeah.
Ooh,
Oh, one hit,
unfortunate
but
hit
he's
on
gonna instead do it.
unfortunate
There you
hit
go. All right,
there on the wake
GG's
up
Tootsie.
there, ruining the perfect quick kill, but still a very good quick kill.
Very good, and that's going to set Tootsie off into one of the most popular episodes across this entire tournament in 4-2. But just kind of finish the thought before. Like I said, it's kind of just something that you have to get used to, like whether it's ACES semifinals or this Dimitri fight. But I'm happy to see that more people, especially Ostrava, someone like yourself who's been around in the community for a good while now, that it does eventually get easier. And I think your practice and your improvement is a big testament to that. So yeah,
But GG's to Tootsie. Almost GG's here to Professor. Also just looking on it as well, I think with the order that the Outback selected here, that they definitely are hinging on how much time Bites has enough time to practice 3-3 here. Since Tootsie is very familiar with Sly 2 and all its episodes, especially 2-1, and Beaver has, to my knowledge, has performed 4-2 a multitude of times in the Aces competition, and also is very inclined to play Sly 4 overall in the series.
yeah. I will say this as somebody who's run Sly 4 for quite some time, but yeah, Beaver is one of the best people to run this game I have ever seen. And I think even with the new developments in the game, with all of the strategies that have been found, he has just continued to play up there with guys like Remo as like one of the absolute best to do it. So props to him. I'm really looking forward to see if he can bring out another great time. And already he's got some pretty crisp movement here, which is going to be one of the big things you're going to hear us talk about with Sly 4, as I'm sure many of you are well familiar with, is just the movement. Not as many big swings in Sly 4 as some other games, but getting to actually play the game is just really cool in my opinion, which is why I really love the game. And 4-2, especially now with all the recent developments, I feel like is probably one of the easiest runs to get into as we see Professor on the right side, unfortunately having a little bit of trouble with Dimitri missing the smoke bomb and having him get away. So he's going to have to jump through a few more hurdles to get Dimitri out of the way here. But yeah, 4-2 now with the recent discovery, Spanish is now the fastest language in the game. So even NTSC users can play in the most optimal language, which isn't always the case, even with episodes 4 and 5. As Tootsie finishes up, or Tootsie, Professor finishes up, so GG's Professor. Good run there, and he's going to set Mapioto off. But yeah, he has that. And also with episode 4-2, it is the only episode in the entire game to not have a 6-axis motion gimmick, like no sort of spark runner hacks, no weird fish mini games, no balancing the eggs, no nothing. So if anyone's watching in chat and you've always thought like, hey, Sly 4 looks kind of cool, 4-2 might be a really good place to start. You don't have to go out and get the fancy old PAL version. You don't have to do anything like that. It's just cool to run the game. So yeah.
The only sad thing about episode 2 is that this is the longest episode in the game.
And yeah, that is definitely the case. I don't think by a super wide margin. I think like what would even be the next longest? Because episode 1 is by far the shortest. That one I think now is down to
It would
41
be
minutes.
episode 5 would be the next longest because it's a lot of extra cutscenes that you have to watch.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 49. What is it like? Is that down to 48 minutes now? I haven't kept track of that. I know it was down to like at least mid 49s with some of the new discoveries that have been made there. I'm not exactly sure.
The thing that I'm most interested in during this episode run is to see if anybody's going to employ the recently discovered displacement boost.
I would not be surprised at all to see Mapioto go for that. I think in all of the Sly 4 runs I've seen him do in this tournament so far, he's definitely done a lot of those. And he's also just done a lot of really out there strats that have been found. I think Mapioto, we've seen him play 4-4 a lot. And a lot of the times when he came up to Hard Target, which is the penultimate job of Mice and Mechs, which is the name of episode 4 in this game, he oftentimes went for a lot of the costume launches, which is kind of insane because costume launches are pretty crazy. I remember when they were purely like a 100% thing, and now it's really cool to see them implemented into any percent. But yeah, Ostrava, remind me again, where are we most likely to see a lot of displacement boosts? Like on the way to Operation, possibly?
Well, the thing was with the displacement boost, it's going to be used at any time where there's
Rope.
rope to walk across. Just whether or not the runner can position themselves on the edge to where they clip into the edge of that like nail or whatever the piece of the end of the rope is, then properly pressing X on the perfect frame to then get launched out of that object.
I think he just tried to go for one right there, didn't quite get it. I think there's also one you can do with Tennessee at the start of Blind Date right after you hit the job trigger. So yeah, like I said, Mapioto definitely, he's unafraid for that. What were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
Basically every time, like, you'll see it on a few lines that they do here in this episode where you'll just come across the rope. Like, I know Mappy will go for each one if he can. I'm not sure if Bieber will, but almost any time that there is a rope where either the Cooper ancestor or Sly themselves can attach that rope, most people should go for displacement boosts if they know how to do them.
Yeah, and absolutely. The displacement boosts, I can't blame a lot of people for not going for them at this time. They're still a relatively new strategy, and I think a lot of people are still really getting used to the feel for them. Like, I remember just sitting there and trying the cutscene skip that was found in Altitude Sickness, the final job of episode 1. And besides just, like, getting the jump, which is already kind of hard, there's also a certain way you have to hold your stick depending on where you go, because that can affect your altitude and no pun intended with a double altitude mention. Mapioto said hi to the stream there as well. I don't know if you saw that with a little text, but we saw it. What was I saying? With altitude sickness, yeah. The displacement boosts are definitely a new kind of strat, and they definitely do take some getting used to. I really think that as time goes on, though, kind of like you said, Ostrava, they'll be one of those things that people will just kind of grow accustomed to. The top runners, at least. And I think it'll be really cool to see them usher in sort of a new era of Sly 4. I'm also wondering if Beaver is going to go for the out of bounds here that was recently discovered.
He's definitely going to go for the out of bounds.
Yeah, there he goes. All right.
It is not. It looks like it's crazy, but this trick isn't too bad. Takes a little bit of practice, but overall, it's just not bad to do.
I think one of the more annoying parts there, honestly, is probably just hitting that cage, that block, when you're on top of the roof. Like normally when you have the stupidly large red button as a visual indicator, but sometimes that can just seem really finicky. At least from me watching, it's looked like that can be pretty annoying to hit. Have you had a similar experience with that, or am I just bad at the game?
No, I've had issues occasionally. Sometimes the hitbox of the wrecking ball size ball and chain, it doesn't want to register that's hitting the correct side. So it could be your positioning with Sly himself, where the game's not registering the hit in the correct place. So you just need to adjust personally. Like you just need to move a little bit, and that normally fixes it.
And Beaver there making all of these strats look ridiculously easy, going for the new skip there in that one room with the coupled with the binocucom cancel to sort of cancel out the cutscene and followed by the other jump. That was enough to make Spanish faster for this episode. But yeah, I'm on as somebody who wants to get back to running this game eventually. I'm honestly relieved to hear that I'm not the only one who kind of sucked at those. It's that and a lot of I think the triangle jumps that allow you to kind of hang on higher ledges. There's been a lot of tiny tech like that that's really been found in Sly 4 in recent times. I think
Yes, this has
uh,
probably been the most productive year of Sly 4 glitch hunting.
your Sly
And I'm
4.
Yeah, just it's been very interesting to see the progress that's come out of the community recently, specifically in Sly 4. The good old spiral dive jump. A small minority of the community will call them spumps, but I'll stick to spiral dive jump because I think that's what the founder of the trick decided to name it.
I don't know why kinda Spumps kinda sounds weird to me. I don't know, that almost sounds like I shouldn't be saying that. I feel like that sounds like some weird ass cuss, but yeah, that's I guess that's one way to put it. I think I'll definitely stick to spiral dive jumps there as well. I like sticking with what the original creator did. I think the reason why I call the one trick in Korean Pinker hot scotch is literally not because I named it that. It's because that's what I've heard other people call it. It was discovered like a while ago, and some person called it hot scotch. I originally, I think, wanted to call it like oven jump or something way less original. So I could be there. Meanwhile, as we see Beaver here on the left side, making another trick look easy. He's just gotta, go off the nub, but making it great. That is a very difficult skip if you do not practice it, but he does it very, very well. Overall, a very good Jailhouse Blues by both our runners here. As we also see Mappiotho getting the new skip that makes his native language faster with relative ease. So great to see both forerunners came ready for this part of the race.
Mappy commenting on the bad name of spumps.
Throwing
Um,
shade at Gandhi.
but both runners here showing their immense skill with this job. This job itself is extremely tough for new runners. Like performing this at an optimal level takes a lot of practice. There's a lot of small things that can make you lose quite a bit of time. And Sly 4 isn't the most punishing of the Sly games once you miss a trick, but you do just lose quite a bit of time in these more chain trigger driven type of gameplay like with Sly 2 to 4.
I think it depends on your definition of punishing, because I think you're right. Like, comparatively to Slide 2 and 3, missing a trick doesn't lose you, like, upwards of a minute, but losing some, like, vital seconds in Sly 4 at a top level, I feel like can mean a lot more than losing, like, 5 seconds in previous games. I know Beaver, our wonderful runner on the left here, he's made mention of this before, and I absolutely agree with him. I think Gandhi, Power, and I, we talked about this a bit in the Finn versus USA relay race a few years back. How's that already a few years at this point? Time flies. Anyways, but yeah, like Sly 4, when I think Gandhi told Beaver he thought this was the easiest game in the series, Beaver absolutely disagreed with him. And I'm inclined to agree to disagree with the fact that Sly 4 is the easiest game in the series because while it's not the most like taxing game execution wise, it is probably, and again, this is why I wanted to say like how we use punishing. it can be, by my definition, punishing if you lose a few seconds. Because in Slide 4, at a very high level of play, missing one of these tricks and losing like 12 seconds, you look at your sum of best and how close it can rack up to your actual PB potential. And then you sit there and say to yourself, oh my gosh, I can't PB anymore. What is this? Because you don't really have those big swings unless, you mess something else up in previous runs, which, hey, I can definitely say I'm guilty of that. I've definitely had a load of I don't know why I just said that really weirdly. I've definitely had a load of Sly 4 runs where I could have done a lot better as far as execution with certain jobs, and so I still probably have a lot of free, quote unquote, time save in future runs. But it can definitely stack up, and sometimes it feels a lot heavier of a burden than it does in, say, Sly 2 or Sly 3. Like in Sly 3, not to brag and not to put myself on a pedestal, but I just got a top 10 time not too long ago, and that was after I lost like a combined 4 minutes between episode 5. And so that sucks, obviously, but it's like if that's in Sly 4, like how much worse does that time get comparatively to like my PB and possibly some of the other times in the leaderboard? I don't know. Does that make sense? Do you kind of understand what I'm saying, Ostrava?
Yeah, it makes sense. Like Mappy's opinion also in the chat. I'm not going to say Sly 4 is the easiest game. I will say Sly 4 is the most beginner-friendly game in the whole entire series. Although it being a 5 hour long speed run, at least for like 5.5 hour speed run for a new runner, it is the most beginner friendly, as in it's easy to pick up. You don't need many tricks to actually finish the game. You could speed run it fairly easily without any issues. Like with Sly 1, like it's a lot shorter speed run and people normally gravitate towards it because of it being a short speed run and the tricks aren't super difficult to do. But in my opinion, Sly 1 tricks are harder than being a beginner at Sly 1 is a lot more difficult than being a beginner at Sly 4. But Sly 4 is in my opinion, is the hardest game to master because whatever movement tech that there is for Sly 4, it can only be performed at the top level. It's not like a super jump in Sly 1. It's not like super jumps in Sly 2 or like square boosting or glitch high jumps. It's not like disguise boosts in Sly 3. Like they're not in the good movement tech is not integral to like part of the game as Sly 4 is it's not the same in Sly 4 as is for the other games.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand. I think I couldn't have said that better myself with all the developments. Like Sly 4, you watch it, and yeah, there are techs and there's a lot of cool things to do, but Sly 4, at the very least, you can leave out like a few minor bits of movement that, like you said, you only would see it like the absolute top level of runners, as we see Beaver there, unfortunately missing a small little skip where you skip past that laser wall using the speeder's momentum. But Sly 4, if you leave out a few things of movement, you can still get some really solid times. And compared to Sly 1, if you leave out a lot of things like, for example, Dread Swamp Jump or like Sinking Peril Cane Jump, or, let's think even bigger. Say, like, you don't even try to do like World 4 skip or World 2 skip. It's like, I don't want to say, are you even running the game at that point, but it definitely just feels like you're leaving so much on the table comparatively, and you're not really taking advantage of the entire point of the speed run. And so, while those tricks definitely take a lot longer to become super duper comfortable with, it definitely is more. I feel like, in some sense, it's more rewarding than some of Sly 4's movement, and it can definitely be harder to get a really solid Sly 1 run in some sense, as we see Beaver there also get a really big skip with the firewall. Map Yota says that's free. I haven't tried that myself in excess, so I won't say too much about it. But yeah, I think it's interesting just to kind of compare the games and the sort of risk reward factor and how vital each skip is to the game. And especially, like you said, with the length of each game, Sly 4, funny enough, is like still the shortest of all three of the games. On average, it only ends up being like 4 hours and 40 minutes at like a decent level. Whereas in Sly 2, like for under 5 hours is a really good time, and Sly 3, even if you're really good, it's barely under 6. So Sly 4, it's definitely the easiest to pick up, but like you said, I think there's an argument to be made that really optimizing your movement is something that you have to be really good at the game to fully get a grasp on, but it's also something that really feels rewarding once you get it down, and I believe you can attest to that.
Oh yeah, so I've had my growing pains with Sly 4, but I've also like my appreciation for some episodes has gotten better. Some episodes I've still having growing pains with, being that episode 2 and episode 5. Just don't like running them because of how advanced it's gotten. But like some basic stuff in like episode 4, I've always enjoyed episode 3, but getting that more in depth, upper level movement has made me appreciate those episodes even more than I ever did before.
I think it's funny to kind of compare that, like you said, with episode 2 and 5 maybe not being well, episode 2 I still think is pretty welcoming as far as the accessibility factor. Maybe it's not so welcoming when you're doing all the new tricks. And episode 5 kind of the same thing, but it's crazy to think that when I started running the game, and I think when a lot of people started, episode 4 was like the bane of everybody's existence, and juggling act was like the boys from men separation. At least that's how I always saw it. And episode 4, don't get me wrong, is still very challenging to this day, but it's very interesting to see how much the game is kind of reworked over time. And with Sly 4, that was an awful voice crack. I apologize for that. Wow. Sly 4, with the case for that, I just feel like you don't see as much drastic change as we have seen over the years with like 2, 3, and especially Sly 1 with all the massive world skips that have been discovered. So it's really definitely cool to see categories not get completely revolutionized, with there still being so much familiarity here with going through all the jobs, but also just seeing a lot of big change with one of the skips that I'm assuming Beaver is going to do here with the next room of Cooper for Hire, and also just seeing new challenges come and like new people continue to come and go and really get better at the game. As we see Beaver once again adapting to that, making the triangle dive strats look easy. Want to see if he can hit that from far away. He did. Excellent. Didn't hit the TNT right away, but he got that out. But yeah, I think it's just awesome to see, and I'm really excited to see new people continuing to come to the game continuing to change, and the landscape of the game continuing to evolve, especially with 100%. Like 100%, the fact that, touching on what you said earlier about all the new discoveries for Sly 4 this year, Ostrava, the fact that we skipped 3 complete cleanup sections for 100% episodes is almost unfathomable, and we found, like, all of them in the span of, like, 2 weeks, which is even crazier, but yeah, it's just awesome. I think Sly 4 is still, like, my favorite game to run in the series. I know a lot of people don't like it casually for kind of the story aspect of it, but I think in spite of it being a speed run where you kind of just play the game and where some people will make fun of it like that, I think there's a lot of really cool value to be had in it. And I also think there's a lot of really, there's a lot of reward and a lot of joy to be had by thinking really great times in this game. So,
Yeah, the thing is with Sly 4, like as I'm sure of quite a few of us in the community aren't really happy with the final product of the story. I can say Sanzuru made a very good game that plays well and feels well to play, which makes it enjoyable to run. And being able to like with just paraglider and knowing how to do the route and not making too many mistakes, you can get a sub 5 time in Sly 4, which is just a testament to like it's the additional gadgets that get you those top level times and also a little like more advanced movement using them or just getting these very niche or like very slight extra jumps, like extra craziness out of like the spiral dive jump. Just getting used to that timing to get that extra height out of it. It's
you
just
know,
insanity.
I definitely think you make a lot of great points there. And like you said, I think whatever my personal opinions on the story might be, or whatever personal opinions anybody else might have about the game story, playing the game is freaking awesome. Like when I first played Sly 4 when I was younger, I'd still really like playing the game. I think the design of it is really consistent with all of the characters and with the challenges you face. I think they did a really good job of building that up. Real quick, as we see Mappiotho, if he can hit the strat, looks like he's in the position just fine. Just got to make sure he snipes that, which he does. Very nicely done. But yeah, I think it's just almost lost my train of thought. I think the game is still really fun to play overall, and just having those little additional gadgets not be world breakers and not carrying you, but just kind of being little knickknacks that you can use to kind of optimize your movement even more in a game that already demands a lot of you. Yes, it can be punishing and it can feel really frustrating when losing a couple of seconds may be the end of your day, but it's also just really rewarding to be great at this game, and it's also really exciting to see people continue to take up that challenge and continue to want to get better at the game. And it had a big part of why I got into running Sly 4 to begin with. And I honestly, for the same reasons, I really don't have any regrets with picking the game up. So I think it's awesome in that sense.
Yep, my story with Sly 4 is Nave somehow tricked me, i.e., convinced me to participate in Tituary one year. Played the game casually because I never finished it casually. Then started learning every episode within like a week or two, and then did Tituary. Kind of enjoyed the run, even though I didn't perform so well, and just have worked from there. And I think my PB now is like a 450, even though I couldn't submit it because of the recording I had corrupted, so I couldn't submit it. But
I've
I'll
been there.
eventually run the game again and get a better PB than I already have. Because I think during my PB, I was my first time playing on the PAL version, so I was playing on optimal language. I bought two wrong gadgets.
Oh no. Oh my gosh, Beaver. Did you see what he just did? What was
Yeah,
that?
he did
Oh
chair
my
jump.
gosh.
He did Sly 4 chair jump, the hard one, the
Like,
really
not
hard
even
one.
okay, not even chair jump, which first of all, that's already impressive. But like, did you see the way he ran across the table? Like, is that
Yeah.
consistent? Because he broke a mug and like the guy didn't see him. That's insane. I've never seen that before.
Well,
Oh my
it's only
gosh.
considered a failure if you're in the lights, so
That bruh. But I've like I guess like he would just have to be low enough because I've been on the chair and like maybe I was just slipping off, but the guy ended up seeing me there. I don't know. That's sick movement.
that
I've
movement
never seen
was
that before.
very nice.
That's that's so awesome. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry. What were you saying before that?
Just talking about Nave getting me into Sly 4, tricking me, then I just enjoyed the game after the fact. And I've definitely worked my way down into a more uh, presentable time. Gonna probably run the game eventually soon. The thing that's itching at the back of my skull right now is doing a 100% quad fecta at least. Maybe one day I'll
Oh.
do at least an 80% penta, but I'm never gonna do 100% penta. But just have to learn Hundo and Sly 1, Sly 3, and Sly 4 before I can even do that.
I'm gonna give Mappiotho like PTSD with Hundo Penta. I think he literally did a quadfecta of Hundo, and then he got to hack pack and was like, "Screw this, I'm done." Just way too tired at the end, so I don't blame you for not doing that.
Yeah,
Hundo quadfecta,
yeah, Hundo Pentafecta is way too long.
yeah, that's you're already if you're running any percent, you're already running like what 18 hours across all four games at average. Let's maybe not try and absolutely nuke the social life. Like let's maybe try and do a little bit better than that. I think we can manage, but yeah, could be fun. I would like to see if maybe I could do one day, just kind of as like a New Year's thing or like a maybe like a charity event. Like if some event got raised for some really important cause, I'd be like, hey, like Shadows would do a quadfecta. I probably wouldn't have to have that to do a quadfecta. I'd do one totally if I prepared for it, but it'd be cool. And I have to learn like all of Sly 2 first. So Strava, I might need you there if the Shadows quadfecta reward ever gets like redeemed. So you could be a big help with that.
No worries, no worries.
Man. I want to see here though, real quick, to kind of anyways, to talk about what's actually going on in the game real quick. I've loved the commentary so far, but oh my gosh, the movement is so sexy. I'm so wet. I'm so sorry. I had to get that out. But dude, I have never seen that before. Like freaking cactus. What are you guys doing? Movement in this game is freaking insane nowadays. I remember when we just had to slowly jump off of like a chair or paraclimb up the furnace. Now you guys are jumping off of like tiny mugs, and it's like you guys look like ballerinas out here. I sound like Chris Collinsworth saying the stupidest garbage, but oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Strava, are you not entertained? I'm loving it. I'm
Oh, I'm very
absolutely
entertained.
loving it.
It's very nice movement. You always
Oh,
think once you see something new, especially in Sci 4, you're thinking like, what can I do to do this in a run?
definitely a big part of that. I think we saw Beaver there. I think he definitely went for both of those displacement boosts. Unfortunately, I don't think
Ye-
he got either of them. That is cool movement though. Ugh. Like he definitely stopped in the little crevices as if he was waiting for the displacement to happen. So I think he definitely went for it. I think Mapiotha will end up going for that as well. Oh, getting a little trouble with the spider there. Thankfully didn't get clipped by the fan. That can happen, by the way. If you get clipped by the fan and die, it's instant death, and then you have to redo that entire vent section over again, which can absolutely suck. But thankfully, it didn't happen to him.
Hmm. Those fans are annoying at times.
At times,
But yeah, I think the tough thing with displacement boost is like you're gonna try to angle your jump to land where you want to, but sometimes the Cooper and Sister slide doesn't want to behave like how you expect the attachment to that circle object to be. So you kind of overshoot what you're aiming for, and you just if you don't land where you want to for that displacement boost, there's just you're not gonna get it. It takes
you
so
know
much
that.
practice to get them consistently.
Because just besides, like, there's two factors I really feel to all of them. Is one, you have to kind of know how to line it up to be in the right spot, and then there's the actual timing. It's almost like trying to time a frame jump. I feel like it's a very similar window you have, and those can definitely be very annoying. Like, I can hit one frame jump in episode 1 in Breakout, like when you just leave the job trigger and go to the one spiral. I can maybe do that frame jump consistently, but I've been playing that episode for years at this point. That took me so long to get consistently, and now that you have to do, did he um am I stupid, or did Beaver miss an object? I almost thought he didn't shoot one of the fire nozzles there. I might just be freaking out. He looks okay.
May Could be
I think he'd
fine.
be, nah, he'd be dead by that point.
Maybe we're not seeing him. Maybe I think you probably hit them all. At least both streams might have a couple stutters every now and then, but
Yeah, I think you're right. He's a very experienced player. I'd be absolutely shocked to see him make that mistake, because we see Mapiotho there. That's one of the first displacement boosts we've seen in the run, but absolutely great for him to hit that for the sake of his team. See if we can hit more here. As you were saying, doesn't get either of them either, unfortunately. But yeah, I think those fire streams can be a little bit misleading. When I was first running this game, that was one thing that kind of threw me off, because I had a couple of times in my very early stages where the coach just died, and I think it was because I forgot to shoot one of the like streams or one of the nozzles or whatever. That's probably just a skill issue, but sometimes you can also be worried, like, because the stream of fire doesn't go away for a little while, and you can say to yourself, did I really hit that? But yeah, hopefully it's not that big of a worry for most runners. Hopefully it was just a me thing. I don't think it is. I don't think a lot of other people have really had trouble with that, which is a good thing.
yeah, at first it's a little tough. I eventually just got used to it, knowing if I could hear the audio cue of it turning shut. Um, that's how I know to move to the next thing, or to know I got them all.
It can definitely be a little bit troublesome. Once again, not overly so, but just something to kind of watch out for when this job. There are a few things that can definitely go wrong in this job. It's mostly an auto scroller, of course, but like you also in that section right there that Beaver just ran out of. You don't want to leave yourself open out of aim mode, because those dynamite bundles can. Excuse me, I had to burp. They can in fact just hit you over the edge, and then you will fall in the river and you will die. So definitely don't want to have that happen. And a few more like wacky little things can end up happening as a result. So some stuff to watch out for, but overall blind date not too bad of a job. It's a little bit tacky when it comes to really optimizing it. You have to be super mindful of where exactly you jump, and where exactly, like, what electric veins you can jump over and which ones you can't. But other than that, yeah, not too bad. Now, though, however, we are moving on to two of the most impactful jobs, three of the most impactful jobs in this entire run, I should say, for this episode at least, in Jailbreak. I got this right. Grand Key Larceny, which has a little bit of RNG to it, and Operation Gold Digger. Ostrava, do you have any like sort of thoughts as to which job you're looking forward to? Like maybe Jailbreak with the new strats or anything?
Mm, honestly, we're getting past where the tough jobs are, but yeah, Jailbreak itself is like interesting to deal with, but we're past the jobs where I consider tough to where a big like split between runners is not going to get too much. Like operation definitely is going to be a big one, because of some of the jumping movement with it, but I'm not looking forward to anything particular right now.
You know, episode 2, I definitely think this is kind of where it gets fun. Like when you're just doing runs like this, especially if you're going for some of those harder strats at Jailbreak, as Mappiotho kind of had to save himself from falling in one of the veins there of electricity. I definitely think these last 3 jobs can definitely be very impactful. There are a bunch of things that can go wrong if you're not careful. Grand Key Larceny especially can just have like a little bit of RNG to it. Like not a crazy amount, but the boxing fight, you can sometimes lose a few seconds there if you let Wildman beat up on you. And then the race, I've had a famous clip of that. You don't want to have a guy accidentally throw dynamite in the same spot twice and kill you. And then Carmelita, that section can just sometimes kind of suck. Sometimes the targets can just be in really unoptimal positions and really get an array of shots to the point where you have to wait till the second vulture comes up to end your shooting fest, which is kind of slow. But yeah, I definitely think there's still a lot to talk about, especially now with the new, what do you call them, mysterious reflexes jumps. If our two runners decide to go for those in operation, I think those were actually known about like a really long time ago, but nobody really implemented them until Mappiotho kind of found a consistent way to like shoot the end of the car target and then actually go through it, which was a huge development. But yeah, just another really cool way to see how the game has sort of evolved over the years.
Yeah, Mysterious Reflexes has definitely shown its face here within episode 2, and I picked up a couple of them myself. Still learning. Yeah, picked up a couple myself. Seeing for what it'd be section 2 of this job, where you'll see the Mysterious Reflexes off of the watermill, but gonna sit here and go through this wonderful auto scroller of Carm shooting at enemies while we wait for Tennessee to park the boat.
Yeah, so this is kind of a random point to talk about. This doesn't really have anything to do with the race, but am I the only person who feels like introducing Carmelita in this episode was really weird?
Yes,
Like,
very awkward.
yeah, so it's like Tennessee, his whole thing is like he has a gun and he has a special ability that instantly kills like 6 guards at once if you aim it right. And then you introduce Carmelita, whose whole thing is that, you know, she has a gun. And then she just doesn't have Tennessee's like cool gun abilities, or she doesn't have all of Sly's abilities. So I don't know. It just feels like a really weird time to introduce Carmelita when a lot of people would look at her and go, like, this is just vanilla Tennessee. Like, I'm playing a much better version of this character. Why would I use this? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Yeah, not a whole lot to talk about for the first few sections here. There is a tiny little jump. There are two tiny little jumps, I should say. Like, you can target specific spires if your jumps and your circle boosts are really tight. Not a super big time loss, but still a little thing to worry about there. Beaver, of course, climbing this little rope backwards just fine. Mappiotho just starting this job. See if he has to hit the thing there, but yeah, of course he did. But yeah, not a whole lot, like I said, to talk about with this job, besides like some minor optimizations you can do with Karm and these sections right here with the water. If you want to play it really risky, you can actually take a few dynamite shots to the face and worry more about killing the jackalopes, because the jackalopes are what actually make the section advance. But of course, you obviously don't want to take too many pot shots, because I think it's like you only need like 3 or 4 dynamite throws, and then the raft can just blow up. And there's also a bundle of TNT that could potentially be next to the raft if you don't destroy it, which can do like almost all of the raft's health instantly. So if you play it safe, you shouldn't ever really be in danger of dying there, but it can happen on the occasion. So still something to watch out for.
Yeah, I think Beaver basically showcased how most runners do it. You get all the dynamite out first. You shoot the gate, at least plank of wood 3 times and you start transitioning the jackalopes. Take 1 to 2 hits, then shoot the final 3 shots to destroy it, then take out the second wave.
Yeah, most
And
definitely. So, like I said, sorry, go ahead.
then Beaver, unfortunately, trying to do this spiral dive jump here that's very tough. Uh, missing it the first time, but getting it second try.
That is a trick that I feel like, to what you were saying earlier, that can definitely seem intimidating to a lot of new players because, like, that, yeah, once you fail at that point in the trick, like, you can just instantly die and you lose a little bit of time there for I say a little bit, but yeah, for Sly 4, that's definitely a lot of time failing at that point. But yeah, cool to see him go for that. At least I'm sure we'll see Napiotho go for that over on his side as well. If he can hit that, then maybe he'll be able to make up a little bit of time here. Not the largest gap in the world, all things considered. I think Tootsie definitely gained some time over the Buccaneers with his performance in episode 1 as well. And Professor just having a few little cutscene skip misses that put him back a little bit. But yeah, I think this is still very close, and going into 3-3, if we see some unfortunate mishaps from either of our players, this race could either tighten up a whole lot or it could get even further apart. It sounds kind of like a no crap thing to kind of say, I know, but it's interesting. And I really think the last stretches of this race are going to be something to look forward to. Yeah, we see here Beaver, of course, in the last room. That is also something you can kind of manage, is you have to be wary of where those TNT barrels are. If you don't destroy them and then you leave the shots of the steers in the wrong way, they can actually shoot the dynamite and then you'll just be blown up and you'll probably be very unhappy because last I checked, a lot of people don't like getting blown up. If you're into that, I can't really say I relate, but to each their own. It's definitely not good for the speed run, I can say that much. But yeah, managing that room pretty well as we see Napiotho going for the mysterious reflexes, both for runners hitting that with relative ease. Now we got to see if he can hit the hard part. Dodging some bullets like a champ. And he gets it! Alright. A great performance on that trick by Napiotho, keeping it close with Beaver over on the left side. And we still have a race on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. I think him missing that definitely could have been pretty detrimental to his team's cause at this point in the race. But yeah, the Buccaneers, for being a little bit behind, I would like to get a exact time check if we can by difference, assuming the restream delay isn't as bad as we originally thought. But the Buccaneers most definitely not going away, and we definitely still have a lot of time here, Ostrava.
Yeah, definitely a lot of time. It's definitely going to come down to how well both runners can perform in Sly 3, because there are quite a few tough tricks within in 3-3 that if you mess up, you're going to be taking lots of time loss.
Most definitely. Episode 3 is just, there aren't the most fail points across episode 3 as maybe some other Sly 3 episodes, like episode 5, but there is still a lot to be worried about. Like, if both forerunners who get to episode 3 in Sly 3, if both of them are going to be going for the super jump in, is it Frame Team Belgium or Frame Team Iceland? I can't remember. I think it's Frame Team Iceland because you put the Viking helmet on the plane at the end, so it's Frame Team Iceland. There's a super jump in that job that can be kind of tough. What's the job name after that? Freaking Frame Team Belgium. That one can be kind of annoying, and also if you're a scrub like I am sometimes, you can just have the dial of the safe in that job still spin at the end, and then that will crash the game. So please don't do that. Don't be like me. Be better than Shadows. Be much better than Shadows. And of course, like I said, with ACES semifinals, that's a variable job that can lose you like upwards of half a minute depending on how the planes kind of act and how well you aim your shots. Yeah, episode 3, I'm still really looking forward to, needless to say. Day 2, especially, day 2 can be an absolute nightmare with so many big tricks there.
Giant Wolf Massacre is going to be a big one, especially if runners try to go for the, I believe it's a cutscene skip at the end after the final shot.
It is a cutscene skip.
Yeah, which is quite tough. Then sometimes managing the wolf and its very erratic movement can cause an accidental death, making you have to restart the whole entire wolf section all over again. because falling into a water off the edge, killing the wolf is very frustrating.
Uh, Meanwhile, on the left side of the screen, Beaver, with that punching of the steer, has already treated us to a fight that was miles better than Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Okay, I'm sorry. That was a stupid joke. That's probably the stupidest joke I'll make all commentary. I had to get that out of the way. I had to. More importantly, what you're saying, yeah, I definitely think Giant Wolf Massacre, personally, is somebody who's been running Sly 3 for a while now, and who was trying to get a decent time in episode 3. I hate that job so much. I think the wolf, if you just have a couple of guards that you can't handle within the wolf's vicinity, he can very easily lock onto them and just start chasing after them. And it can make doing the job faster and doing the job more comfortably really, really difficult. And obviously, not something you want to have happen, especially not in a full game setting where one mistake like that and you can have to do that entire section over again. Like you said, definitely a lot that can go wrong in that job. And then, of course, you definitely don't want to die when you're playing as the Wolf Guru mix, because that can end up with you having to do a lot, and sometimes the guards can just not really spawn the way you want to. But yeah, episode 3, well, there's a lot that can go wrong. There are definitely some great jobs. I personally love Operation in the speedrun. I think the Murray section with the boat is maybe kind of annoying. It's just like really slow. But besides that, like the Baron fight is pretty cool. The section when you're in the plane doesn't take too long, and I think the routing we've done for the very beginning with not only push boosting but with the trackers, I think is pretty cool. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
It'd be very interesting overall.
I think so too. What's also interesting to see here is how Mappiotha was going to handle the race. I think both of the runners have done about what they can on this job. I did mention earlier a little bit of this part right here with Carmelita can be a little bit annoying depending on what kind of RNG you get. Sometimes you can have outcomes where like you'll get 5 great targets in a row and you can just combo them back to back to back. Beaver looks like here is actually having, first of all, his aim is impeccable right now. This is really good aim, getting one unlucky shot there, hitting the Condor, thankfully. The strategy here is you really want to just try and combo these little yellow guys that are moving on the far left. That oftentimes will yield you the best results consistently. But there are still a lot of these blue guys that can just get in your way. That, however, was a very good shooting section. I think Beaver overall pulled out a really good GKL for this run. So props to him, and I think that'll really help going into what should be a great operation, which should be a fun operation to watch at the very least.
Yep, got mysterious reflexes. Honestly, what the Carm Bentley section, as long as you manage that well, it's not too bad. I think the biggest part of operation is the Tennessee movement, and, and also not having an unfortunate death with Murray when bringing the van.
That could definitely happen. It's a lot easier to have happen than some people may expect. For one, if you're not super comfortable with it, you can just like take a stupid death at the beginning where you can run right into the electricity. Doesn't lose that much time comparatively, but still just kind of annoying to have happen. It's something that will make you slap yourself in the forehead.
Yeah, nobody
And then like,
enjoys dumb time loss.
no, nobody does at all. But I do think you're definitely right. Like Tennessee, especially with the new strats, if both forerunners are going to be going for that, I think that's going to be the creme de la creme, so to speak, of that part of the operation. I think those strats are really cool, and I think they're probably really rewarding to hit. Is Mappiotha. Oh my goodness, Mappiotha gave me a little bit of a heart attack there. He had no hesitation when trying to avoid that dynamite. He just went for it. Keep in mind, if you die during that section, you have to redo that entire race all over again. I'm not saying that would have been the end of the race if he had missed that, but that would not have been good at all for the Buccaneers at this point. But yeah, it's coming down to the wire here for episode 2. I'm really interested to see if Beaver is going to lose any time or if he's going to really pull out a great episode 2. So Ostrava, the Buccaneers here, not very far behind, all things considered. Still, Mappiotha, I think, has played a really great episode 2 from what we've seen. Both of our runners have done really well in this episode, but how do you like both teams' chances going into the finale? Or rather, I guess, given the current situation, how do you feel the Buccaneers' chances are hanging right now?
I feel like this race can still go either way. Just even though the gap from Slide 2 Episode 1 did get fairly large, I feel like Mappy slightly gained on Beaver in some aspects here, but I think this has been a fairly even race between the two of them.
Beaver also going he's playing it super aggressively, going over the gap, firing off on those guys. I think is that actually faster? I haven't seen many people play it like that before, but that was kind of cool what he just did. Yeah.
But the thing for
Mappiotto
me
also,
is, no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Mappiotto in chat reminding us that he's like only plus 3.5 on his PV so far. So here's a really cool operation. He can maybe pull that out. But please go ahead.
But yeah, myself personally, it's definitely going to come down to the Sly 3 episode. Mappy with a nice launch there.
He's going for all of it. He certainly loves doing that. But yeah, oof. I don't know. Like, I do still think it could go either way. Knave, it's just like Knave 3-3 is the kingdom of Knave. If Knave has a really good run, he can do wonders with that episode. I just don't know if I can really say like, oh, Bites is probably gonna have a really rough time, because he's run this episode a handful of times during this tournament already, and I can't really recall a terrible amount of runs that he didn't do well on, or like some overly egregious time loss that he took, at least not in a majority of the runs. So it's tough to really say like, oh yeah, Bites is going to give them a lot of breathing room here. I think I'm not going to say the Buccaneers are going to have to catch a break, but of course one sound lock can change everything. Dare I say the S word? That's terrible. I of course wouldn't want that to be the way that this race gets even. I think if that were to happen to either of our runners, it'd just be really unfortunate at this point.
Yeah, nobody wants to win that way, but unfortunately, sometimes the game has its own prerogative and emotions. But I think the big thing is, being on last time I saw Nate complete episode 3-3, my now eliminated team was on the receiving end of it, and I was to my knowledge, Nate was fairly close to PBing until some unfortunate occurrences happened. But Nave can definitely play 3-3 if he has to.
Most definitely. And if I'm not mistaken, that was the match that Slink and I ended up commentating in, I believe, round 4 between your Kunlun Vampires and these Bloodbath Bay Buccaneers, if I have that right.
If it wasn't then, it was another time. But the last time I saw Nave play 3-3, he almost PB'd.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant that was the matchup where you, in fact, what am I saying? No, because in that matchup that I'm talking about,
No, we had yeah, I'm misremembering. It was definitely we had two Sly 4 episodes, and that was to our detriment.
yes, and Nave played 4-1, and Bacon actually got like a massive BB in that episode. So that's, yeah, you're definitely right. We both misremembered there, so no worries. But yeah, Beaver also as well. That's a really cool strat that I absolutely love to see being implemented in this episode. I am really excited to try that out for myself and nail that, hopefully, when I come back to running this game. Makes it look easy. But yeah, it's a huge get for Beaver. Yeah, I think that's like one of the only times I can remember 4-1 being run in this race. And I can't remember what the other time was that we saw that being ran. I know for a fact it was ran one other time. I unfortunately can't remember what the exact matchup was or what the stakes were. But yeah, definitely cool to see a lot more Sly 4 episodes in that sense. And I think that might have been one of the only matches in the tournament so far where, I guess that's not even true. We've seen a couple of matches in the tournament where we've seen multiple Sly 4 episodes. Most likely it's been a combination of 4-2 and 4-5, just because those have been by far the most popular Sly 4 episodes. And then it really feels like every episode in this game outside of that really hasn't been run that much. I guess that's not even true either, because 4-4 has been run a decent bit, but then 4-1 and 4-3 kind of got left in the dust. So unfortunate to see that.
Got Beaver going into the boss fight here.
Do see Mappiotha there. Also, that's another thing that I haven't seen a lot of people do. I don't know if it's faster. In fact, you know what? Never mind. It's not faster on that particular alter ego hack anyways, because the boss does the really weird up and down movement that loses a lot of time. But that's another new development that I haven't seen a lot of people go for, is the restart checkpoint strategy on a lot of the alter ego quick kills. where instead of using levels, you can just use really optimal movement and shots with a bare bones Bentley avatar and kill the boss that way. Saves a little bit of time comparatively if you do it right. But for that one, of course, the boss, like I said, has really weird movement if you let him get in the second phase, or if you don't kill him immediately, I should say. There's a bat in that car? What? Okay, whatever. I'm talking about irrelevant stuff here. But yeah, and definitely I think that's something that will be implemented by a lot more runners as the time goes by and as we see more developments of the game. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to break out like that. But I've never seen a bat like that in the car. I don't know if that was just like the scene was originally meant to be something else, and like it had a little cave bat up there, but I didn't even know he was up there. The little tiny bat. Mapioth killed him. Kind of sad, but interesting. Very interesting. You see both runners as well getting that awesome strat that Bites, who we're going to be seeing in just a moment here once Beaver finishes up, ended up finding. Such a cool strat too. Awesome to see people getting more consistent with that. Yeah, the whole Toothpick boss fight, not really a whole lot to talk about here. The only real thing to mention, I guess, besides just like being fast and line up correctly for you hitting the little pistons to get Toothpick down, it's just like the little costume change at the very beginning, because if you like release the L2 button, change to a costume at a certain time right before you get to the intro cutscene to that fight, you can change into the jailbird costume earlier than you intended and immediately just get on the ball. Mapioth unfortunately didn't get it there, but I think Beaver might have gotten it. Saves like half a second, so it's not detrimental if you lose it, but something cool to mention. As we see Beaver moving on to the last phase here, and he's about to set Bites off to 3-3. All right. So, and I guess I should announce that to the stream, right? There's no like problem for having this. Yeah.
No issue with that.
Yeah. I think so just discussing real quick amongst commentators, it appears that our technical analyst, Mr. Even Stevens here, has informed us that we are having some technical difficulties on the side of Bites. So we may have to stop the race here. I guess not stop the race, but we may have to come to a pause, I suppose, real quick, until we get those issues figured out with Bites. I don't think we're going to gain or lose any time on either side here. We will ensure that does not happen, but we will see if Bites is able to rock and roll here. Hopefully there aren't rather too many issues on his side. As we say, GG to Mr. Beaver, finishing off what seemed like a really great run. I think like, what did he miss? I think he missed the spiral dive in Jailbreak one time, but other than that, I don't really remember seeing a whole lot of mistakes in Beaver. Very solid episode too, so great work by him.
But yeah, that was definitely the only like big mistake to see. Just very solid, even though with this mistake that can be frustrating like that.
You know, in a marathon setting with Sly 4, stuff like that is unfortunately going to happen, and it's easy for me to say sitting up here in the commentary booth, but there is a part of you that kind of just has to live with it. We unfortunately saw something like that happen to Remo in the last match I commentated with Sonic in episode 3, but he just absolutely rolled with it, kept his cool, and to his credit, he played the best race he possibly could have at that point, just kind of moved on from it and kept playing the game. So props to him, props to Beaver for doing the same thing. Still has his team here in a really great position to hopefully keep rolling. And I think, keyword think, that Mr. Bites is having an okay time. I think his screen portion, there we go, all right. Looks like he may have had a little bit of a kludge as far as getting out his game feed, but still has it there, and we are going to try and make it work so you guys can enjoy a little sneak peek of the episode 2 ending cutscene while we have Bites' aspect ratio a little far off there, but it's all right. We got the man running the game. He is off in EP3. The race has not stopped. The show must go on. And we are off to episode 3. And so is Nave. It's going to be a fun one.
Got about one cutscene difference between the two runners right now.
Pardon me if that came through. But yeah, no, GG's to both Mapiotho and Beaver. GG's both you guys on a great episode 2. It was really fun to watch. Hopefully Bright's not having any more technical difficulties there. I think he was held up at the dialogue bubble for a minute. I'm pretty sure you clicked the right dialogue though, so no worries there. Oh, yeah. Now, unfortunately for episode 3, the start of it is extremely slow. Day 2 is very stressful for episode 3, just because of all the things that can go wrong, but day 1, like, the first, like, 2 or 3 jobs, at least, are just kind of bad, personally. This is why I think a lot of people don't like running episode 3, is that episode 2 or sorry, day 2 can be fun when you day 2 can feel very rewarding when you hit all the tricks and when you get very good times on jobs like Giant Wolf Massacre and Windmill Firewall. Then you also have the start of this job, which is 5 minutes of cutscenes, basically, and then you have CHD, the world famous CHD, which is basically an auto scroller, and also like a lot of slow Murray rowing in Frame Team Iceland. It can be kind of a slow time. How do you feel about this episode of Strava?
I personally like it from a casual standpoint because I really enjoyed it as a kid. I do enjoy the run itself, but yeah, you're right. There's a lot of tedious moments here due to long auto scrollers or sections that require quite a bit of mashing. But overall, I personally like to run the episode when I did run Sly 3 a bit more consistently.
You know, I think there was something very rewarding about trying to grind out this episode with just seeing the time go down for it was very rewarding, knowing all the things you had to go through, especially at the tail end with day 2. And to your credit as well, I definitely agree as far as the casual standpoint. I think a lot of people would back you up on that, where casually at least, I think this is probably one of the best episodes in the entire series. I think, like, this is up there with some ones like 2-6, and I don't even know what my favorite Sly 4 episode would be. I'd have to think about that. I guess 4-1 from a speedrun perspective, but the other ones I'd have to really think about that. But yeah, this is definitely just a very memorable episode with all the dialogue and with the cool variety of missions. It's just kind of a shame that so much of it in the speedrun is pretty monotonous to play.
Yeah. Also here with 3-3, the actual final fight with the Baron, at least to me, is very satisfying to do. Removing out the ad phases you have to deal with, like just knocking the pegs off the wing, but fighting the Baron himself is quite fun.
Oh no, the Baron fight's awesome. I think the Baron fight is probably one of the best parts of this entire speedrun, just with the D-pad mashing strats you can do and trying to manage yourself on the wing. It can be really stressful when you're on a really good pace, but I think just getting a really good Baron fight, I don't want to say there's nothing else like it, but it's a really great feeling when you're using the Elder Baron fight when he gets off there pretty fast. It's great. I think the operation is definitely one of the better jobs in the speedrun for this episode, like I touched on earlier. I think it'd be really cool to see how our runners handle that. Also, completely unrelated, I would love to see somebody science this part right here. Like, imagine if the loading trigger to the hub world was active at all times and you could somehow like set up a stuck spot super jump to get out of bounds here. I don't even know if that's possible. I don't know if something like that exists, but that would be cool to skip like so many minutes of cutscenes, and it would just be really fun to see somebody make that discovery.
I'm sure it'd be the same as like with Sly 2. If cutscenes don't get watched, there's no way to get out of bounds. You probably just fall out into the void.
I mean, yeah, you're probably right, but hey, man can dream.
Yeah.
Eyes to the skies of Strava. And all that good stuff.
Mhm. Another thing that's like, at least being a person who enjoys watching Sly 3 runs, I can't perform that well, but seeing people who can effectively manage their ammo and fly the plane well is just so satisfying as well.
Absolutely. I just, like I said earlier, I think ACES semifinals for a lot of people that start running this episode is one job where you can practice it a bunch of times. You can see what times you end up getting on average and then see what, like, I feel like Calm Gold isn't a good comparison, as we see Bites having a unfortunate bit of movement there, blowing himself off the roof, but thankfully able to recover from it. Had a he's had a little bit of sloppy movement to start this. I think he went the wrong way coming out of the Dimitri dialogue initially, and then he had that. So not not killer blemishes so far, but hopefully for Bites' sake and for the Outback's sake, that's not for foreboding for how the whole episode is going to go. Because if that's how it's going to go, then maybe this episode, maybe this team might be in some trouble. But it's a little early to be super paranoid. So keep your caps on.
Beklager, Bentley. Ingen bryter her. Men det må være en bryter.
Definitely got to be careful with your bomb boosts in this
Vent litt. Jeg har en idé.
portion. I'm sure it was your stream recently, Shadows, where you were
Yep.
doing this episode and you died like mid
Men
vault
effektivt. Takk. Ikke noe prob.
input.
Se deg senere.
It was interesting.
Yeah, so it's probably like it was a skill issue, but still, it was kind of funny how it happened. So I think the frame window for it to happen, somebody can find the clip. It's still up there. I think it's one of my more viewed clips as of late, but I think it's like a very small frame window where as Bentley is coming out of the looking at the painting mode, you can get hit by the bombs out of his little walking animation to go input the safe code. It's a very small window, and not only did I have that happen to me on this painting right here that Nave's at, I had that happen to me twice. So I was at full health coming in here, I struck myself with a bomb on the first painting, and then I killed myself on the second. And I've never been able to replicate it since. Thankfully, I guess, but I really hope it's not super common because I don't want to see it happen to anybody else. It's just kind of stupid, and I'm kind of upset that it can just happen, but that's the way things go, I guess. Yeah, if you find the clip, it's kind of funny how it happens. I just don't even know how to react to it in the clip because it's just kind of absurd, but that's the way things go. Like I said, excuse me. Apologies.
Get to the boat rowing here in a second. Then we'll see this cool super jump after the boat rowing.
Super jump, I remember this is a trick that really gave me a lot of problems when I first started running the game, and even today it definitely gives me a lot of trouble. I think I've missed this a handful of times in my most recent 90% PB. Can be a hard job. Can definitely be a hard job if you haven't practiced it.
Yeah, the super jump saves a bit more time over just the R1 taps throughout the thing, especially if you get it first try. But just how super jumps kind of function in Sly 3 is just so different compared to how you be used to it in Sly 2 and especially Sly 1. The game just a bit smarter on not allowing you to teleport across the map like that.
Yeah. Okay, so real quick, I want to comment on that. I have dinner in front of me right now. I have a burger that I got brought from a restaurant and fries. So if I take a minute to respond to something you say, I'm not ignoring you. I'm not trying to ignore the comms. I'm just chewing something away from the mic. But yeah, no, I definitely think you got a point there with. Can you repeat Can you repeat what you were saying about that question? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second.
It wasn't really a question, but just saying that compared to Sly 2 and Sly 1, how super jumps are a bit more established and a lot easier to do. In Sly 3, they're very finicky, and it seems like the game knows they exist, and it's just trying to prevent you from doing them.
Yeah, it's weird. I think somebody can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure for a long time, a lot of community members were convinced that you just straight up couldn't super jump in Sly 3. And that's, yeah, like you said, you can do it, it's just the timing for it is really weird and it can be kind of tight. When I first started practicing this trick, maybe it was just me doing it too much, but I got a decent blister on my thumb just because I didn't know the timing for it, and so I was just forcing it right off the bat, right as Sly got to the ground to make absolutely sure that I got it. But that's Sly 3 super jumping, if you're not comfortable with it, it's all right, well, I have to absolutely make sure that I get this, and then sometimes it can just really suck like that. Thankfully, in the speedrun, there's not too many situations where you have to do it. Off the top of my head, the only two situations where I think it's really super vital to the speedrun are in this section coming up, and also, where is it? Shoot. in Gauntlet, where you have to do it like twice for 2 of the paintings. But even then, the ones in Gauntlet aren't super terrible because you have feral pounds by that point, and you only have to do like 2 jumps per ancestor, so it's over with pretty quickly. Here you have to do like a dozen, and then there's that stupid jump by the TV, but Bites making it look trivial, absolutely nailing the trick, not getting too close to any of those moose fellas, getting out of there with relative ease. Knave's coming right up to that, so we'll have to see if he can match that.
But yeah, that super jump was very clean. Could not ask for anything better than that.
Not at all.
Also, another cool thing that Bites did, he got a very well-timed push boost into the ladder to where he saved a little bit of time from the transition from lower to higher.
You know,
Wasn't much
seeing
time, but it's very optimal movement.
time save is time save, you know?
Ja, vent litt.
I just think like seeing push boosting in a situation like this is kind of absurd. Like it really is a testament to the skill of both of these players that even in such a tight corridor like this, they know exactly where to go. As Nave also nails that skip, great job.
Just got
But
caught by the TV a little bit, but very nice.
a little bit. That TV can suck. He has gone on record saying that. Like you have to really practice the angle at which you jump into that, or it can take forever just to like get stuck and go back to your grounding spot, which can end up losing you quite a bit of time. Yeah, no, just like I said, the skill of both these players. This is why I was really looking forward to this episode. Is regardless of who wins, I think both of these guys have played a pretty solid race in spite of Bites' few mishaps in hidden flight roster. I think I remember the job, guys. I remember the name. In spite of a few minor mishaps there, this is still a very close race, and the team's got a very solid lead. So, looking forward to seeing what the runners have left to do, and it's great to see that they're already living up to the hype.
Yeah, episode 3-3 is like it's a slow start one, but the episode itself ramps up in difficulty very quickly. The number of tricks you have to do, then just plus the slight tough movements and things you have to do casually just to get jobs completed.
Yeah, it's like I'm saying though, it's just like, I really wish episode 3 just wasn't so difficult to get a run started, because there's that trick which can be very intimidating for some new players, and then you couple that with having to sit through multiple minutes of cutscenes. It can just feel like, gosh, do I really want to sit here and do attempts of this over and over and over again? And that's not a problem that's exclusive to episode 3 as far as Sly 3 episodes, but I definitely think it's got one of the worst cases of it. Like, you could argue full game, even for Sly 3, has that problem, but like you're still at least playing a lot of the intro stage, and those first few animated cutscenes and Hazard Room, that's 15 minutes out of like a 6-hour plus run. So proportionally, I don't feel like it has the same effect.
Bra jobba. Det var
You could say
subtil
this episode's like comparable to like doing Sly 1 remaster runs, because if you make any mistake early
ja.
on, you have
Kan du
to
plante hjelmen på det belgiske flyet?
do all of Paris again, then go through like 2 resets just to get back to starting your run again.
As somebody who has run remaster a decent bit, I can actually say that's honestly a great comparison. And I like rerunning. I like running remaster, don't get me wrong. I think there's definitely some cool tricks that are exclusive to remaster that can feel great when you get them right. But compared to PS2, I mean, PS2 nerds can correct me on this, but like when you start a PS2 run for Sly 2, for Sly 1, can't even remember my games now. It's the cost for getting a few job names right. When you start runs for Sly 1, you're in a stealthy approach in the first like minute of a run. For Sly 1 on PSN, you're in stealthy approach the first like 5 minutes of the run. And then if you fail ASA Void round, it's like, congratulations, you're back to 5 more minutes. So spot on what you're saying. Speaking of which, now we get to everybody's absolute favorite parts of any Sly speedrun ever. It's Cooper Hangar Defense. Are you excited, Ostrava?
Yeah, so excited. Best job here, best emote too.
Yeah, of course you're excited, because who doesn't love an auto-scroller in a speedrun? It's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, there are some like tiny things you can do, like if you We're gonna see both our runners stand on top of the little gadget thing there to like hit mugshot that much quicker. And there's like some optimization you can do with, excuse me, the killing the guards in Penelope's section, and depending on how or at what time you um kill the whatchamacallits, kill the guys in the sewers. Depending on what time you kill them, I guess you can have the section end a little bit quicker. But yeah, it's one of those jobs where just like tiny optimizations are what you got to watch out for, and then like once you know what you're doing, especially in episode runs where it really is just an auto scroller. Like you don't
Murray,
grind coins or do
jeg
anything
har
here,
jobbet med
so
å sette opp sikkerhetssystemene i
not as
Outback,
entertaining as you might
og jeg er
expect. But
snart ferdig.
hey, it's all right. I'm
Dessverre
sure the
har
runners appreciate
internettkompisen
this in a
min,
race this
Penelope,
close, just having a
hørt
job where
rykter
you
om
can
at
kind
et
of
rivaliserende
hang
lag
around, not have to
kommer
worry
til å
too
prøve
much.
å
I'm sure they
ødelegge
appreciate
flyet
it.
vårt.
I also appreciate all of the
Det
CHDs in
hadde vært
chat.
supert om du
Beautiful.
kunne stå
It's like a
vakt
wall
mens
of
jeg gjør ferdig
CHD.
It was
sikkerhetssystemene.
definitely nice to have a full chat box on stream filled with just CHD only.
A work of art.
Then Beaver had to go and ruin it.
Yeah, Beaver. You ruined the wall. Destroyed it. No, kidding. We still love him, and he still played a great race, so no worries at all. Don't think I forgot about Mesa City, did you? Oh, dude. I have a burger sitting in front of me with avocado and bacon, and like I can't eat it because I don't want to make it like the one optimal loot match where I was literally eating a sandwich in the middle of the commentary. I just don't want to do it. Funny enough, were we commentating together for that match, or were you playing in that match? I think you might have been playing.
I think I was commentating actually.
Oh my gosh, because you probably remember that if I was just eating a freaking sandwich in the middle of the commentary. Oh, you know, I apologize for that. I know Nave made some comment about it during the commentary, like, "Wow, professional commentary, great job, Shadows." And like, yeah, I don't even remember what I was doing that day. I was still in school. I think I'd just gotten out of like a 3-hour montage of class or something like that. I hadn't eaten in like 5 hours. And so I was just like, screw it, I'm gonna go and get like this foot-long Subway sub with like all the fixins, like mayo and like bacon and cheese and like everything. And I just wanted to freaking chow down on that sandwich. I couldn't help myself, but I'm gonna try and not do it. We've got like, how much longer this one do we have? Like half hour? Probably.
Yeah,
On the
about
interview.
that.
Yeah, I'll microwave a burger. Screw it. The commentary is more important. The people demand a clear voice.
I definitely missed the optimal loot tournament. That was my funnest run of ever in a Sly community tourney.
That's what we're saying, Ostrava. The people want more optimal loot. I think it's great. I think unfortunately we might have to rehash slide 2 or slide 3 or slide 3 or slide 4, excuse me, if we want to do it, because I have heard that slide 2 is an absolute nightmare to play as far as optimal loot.
Yeah, for optimal loot's a mess. For possibly other things, it might be useful.
I've heard a lot of people throw around the idea of unoptimal loot for slide 2, which I think could be kind of cool, but I'm not the Slide Golds mod, so I of course wouldn't know. Excuse me, what is wrong with the guards on Dave's side? They're on fire.
So what could happen in both slide 2 and slide 3? I don't know if it happens in slide 4. Because I haven't seen it. If a guard like dies or despawns with like another kill animation, so if 2 kill animations play on top of each other, you'll retain a kill animation. So if you just see random guards like still on fire with the birds flying around them from being stunned by Mike Murray's punches, it's because you despawn them while they still had that effect attached to their model.
Interesting. So I wonder how that works then, if like that can happen when there's a whole room full of guards. Like if that can happen to multiple guards at once, if they all spawn in like standard ground, for instance, where the room is just flooding with guards all the time. Interesting to think about.
It's just an interesting visual glitch.
Yeah, does it Does that happen on PS2 as well? I mean, I would assume it does because it's something
Yeah.
in the game. Yeah.
It'll happen on PS2 as well. Another fun place to do it is with Bentley at the very end of the game of Slide 2. You can get him shocked or light him on fire on Kakla, and also have the final bomb go off to where the cutscene keeps that animation on him. So you can have Bentley being like a burning god of fire, or like permanently like pushing out electricity once you grab the hate chip.
I think I've seen that before, actually, as Bites is letting a few guys through. The plane should be fine. I think he's alright in that sense. But yeah, I don't remember who it was that I saw, but I definitely saw at least the shock effect where like Bentley's whole stomach was surging with electricity. Um, the bomb, maybe. I think I would know it if I've seen it. Maybe I haven't. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've like seen a whole lot of Sly 2 runs, but there's clips of it, I'm sure. Multiple clips, in fact, if multiple people have done it. I have to go
I have
find
a,
it.
I have a fairly old clip on my channel of Bentley being on fire at the very end of the game.
I could find it after the stream. Or if one of the people in chat wants to find it, heyo, that'd be cool too.
Oh no, but wait.
What?
Oh no, Bites did finish. I thought for a second Bites' plane got destroyed.
No.
Ugh.
It's all good. He said the my hanger after he had already finished the job, so no worries. Meanwhile, Bites and Dave commentating about who actually owns the Cooper hanger. It's a debate for the ages.
Well, Nave was in it last, so I think it's Nave's.
Last in, last out?
Yeah.
Alright. I like it. I can roll with it. Ooh, I want to get another check on how far away we are. Is this? I think it's just larger than a minute, right? It's got to be larger than a minute.
Ish.
There's all that. So, yeah, the last section, Cooper, the hanger defense here, not really a whole lot to talk about. The only thing that's worth mentioning is that there are, I believe, 6 tanks, including the very first one where Bentley's like, Penelope, I'm detecting incoming tanks that you have to destroy, and the tanks are the only thing that actually moves this section along. So the optimal strat here is to just kind of wait around for the tanks and then destroy them immediately. And once you've destroyed the very last one, it's actually not a bad idea to kind of leave some pigs, since they're the easiest guards to kill around the hangar. So then by the time you've destroyed the last tank and you just need to clean up all the guards to end the mission, you can just clean up a few pigs and have it end a lot quicker than if you had killed a few rams, or had to kill a few rams. But yeah, besides that, not a whole lot to talk about here, and then we're going to move on to Friend Team Belgium, which, like I said before, can be a very interesting job, depending on how the truck section goes. We could definitely see a little bit of a swing here. Things could get very interesting, but we'll see. We'll see.
I wonder if either owner, I think Bites is trying to do it, trying to do the very difficult like circle roll strats here to take out these tanks, where it's slightly faster than going back and forth. Just like dashing in a circle instead of trying to dash back and forth.
Peepo G. I actually didn't know that was a thing, but I see what you mean now. Yeah, he's definitely like circling around. Interesting. Do we have any idea why that's faster?
It's just it just takes more time to go back and forth, like to north to south or east to west. You can actually, with I don't know if it's because the mashing of the because I know you can mash the buttons here where you can like get them to go a little faster than the game normally wants you to, but I think that's why it's slightly faster. It's not too much of a difference, but it's a small optimization.
Hey, time is time, you know? Speedrunner philosophy, so we appreciate that. It's definitely interesting to know for a lot of people who want to keep running the game, people who want to get into running the game.
Naves can't get my favorite spot during this episode, just mashing the hook on top of the windmill.
It's really fun to do that, kind of just see how fast you get it down, and also the fact that once you drop the hook, you can boost again, so you can kind of just flick the chopper around like really rapidly in a situation like that. It's fun to do.
I think the runners are within under a minute of each other.
I think they definitely are now. There's no way there's a minute gap. But keep in mind, at the beginning of the race, what was it? Tootsie had like a 25-second delay for like, I don't know if he was waiting, if he didn't get the cue or what, based on the restream, but this might be even closer than we realized. So if this ends within a time margin similar to this, or maybe if Nave closes a little bit of ground, we still might have to take a look at this anyways. So hold on to your hats. Could be interesting. Or I guess that would actually, never mind actually. Would that would give Australia 25 seconds, or how would that work?
It'd be about like, yeah, the Outback would be further ahead than they currently are.
Okay. Ooh, so that would actually, they might actually need Bites to eat a few fails in that case even then.
Well, we still got some very tough things coming up, so
We do.
anybody's match still.
Listen,
Yeah.
I'm not singing a tune about anyone's victory, A, until we get past Giant Wolf, and B, until I hear somebody's audio come on during the Baron fight. Then they're in the home stretch.
Yeah, we still got Giant Wolf Massacre, Ghost Attacks is going to be a big one as well. Very easy to mess that one up if you aren't paying attention.
Or get shot into outer space if you're Knave, which can apparently just happen if you get stuck in between a few bullets. And that would actually, I say that as a joke, but if that happens after you get Ghost Tax, that would actually be so bad. Because then that's a death and you would lose Ghost Tax. That would actually be so unfortunate if it happened. Hopefully that doesn't happen to anyone. Did Bites click the wrong dialogue?
Bites doing an extra dialogue for funsies, I'm guessing.
Oh, for the content! He's throwing on purpose. Oh gosh. Beaver and Tootsie absolutely seething. Like what? Now he's got the right one. I'm gonna shove his fist down his throat. Ta-da! That's not good. Because now, yeah, Knave, I think he's on the last. Yeah, that's the fist dialogue. So this gap has gotten a lot smaller, Ostrava.
Bites just having a little fun. Just a little fun.
Oh gosh. He wants to laugh just like this this Belgian guy is. Oh gosh. What are we in for? The 50 hertz setup.
Oh wow, Knave with that nice double pocket there.
Yeah, it's not entirely locked to the laughing animation when his pocket is glowing blue. You do actually have like a second of leeway after he stops laughing to pull the handkerchief out afterwards, but yeah, you obviously it's still a little tight, but you can definitely pull a little bit afterwards. You just gotta get used to it.
We're in the same cutscene.
How we feeling, chat? You entertained? Is this the semifinal match you wanted? This is for the ACES finals, baby. Let's go. We're getting to the fun jobs now. So yeah, for this job, you kind of want to have a like sort of reverse GSM if you can. The rabbits, I think, jump slightly higher than the pigs. So if you can get more of those in the pigs, that's a little bit better. Knave also getting a great loop there for the second guard on the truck. And of course, the truck is the big determining factor in this job as to whether or not you're going to have a good time. If the path is just outright awful, which it definitely can be for most runs, you can just take forever to actually kill it. And you, of course, have to be accurate with your shots. As far as the guards go, as we see Bites, they're getting a little unfortunate RNG, and Knave officially, at least here on the stream, has taken the lead, and the Buccaneers, for I believe the first time in the race, have pulled ahead.
But Knave doing well managing his basically his GSMs to where guards were spawning nearby himself. Just very, very clean.
You know, the
there.
GSM was great. They've also got, like, amazing RNG with the truck. I feel like you never see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, the truck. Oh, Nave's taking a truck to the face.
Not too bad. Like I said, just don't crash the game here, and you're alright. Cool. Like I said, if you leave, that goes for any safe in the game. If you leave the dial spinning, I don't know what it is in the game. Both of them got hit by the truck. But if you leave the dial spinning, then like at some point in the cutscene, after it like starts, the game I guess just can't end the cutscene, and so the game will just crash.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. For a second there, I was afraid. No, he didn't. Did he? Okay. Oh my gosh, the stream like buffered for a minute. I was almost afraid like I couldn't quite make it out because of the bitrate. I thought Bytes accidentally did it for a minute. My heart almost dropped, but he's all right. And he's in a very good spot to start this job. Now this job, oh, take a breath here. But this, like we've been talking about all race, this is going to determine a lot. This job can have a huge swing of upwards of like 30 seconds. This is a big detriment for people running this episode, but we'll see if the grind for Nave pays off.
Well, Nave golded for Team Belgium there, so.
My gosh, you never see that either. For my experience, it's like one of the hardest splits to gold. Like I said, just because the truck can sometimes just kick you in the butt. It can be an awful experience sometimes. I actually wonder if Nave is on PB pace, because I haven't really seen him do anything like terribly wrong so far, knock on wood, for his sake.
I'm sure Nave's not going to mention PB pace until we're going to operation.
Probably not. And I won't add any more missed pressure to him. The last time I mentioned that, it ended with Remo missing an ICSS in episode 4-3, and that killed off any chance he had of world record, so I'll keep my mouth shut in that sense, and hopefully both runners are at the very least on a decent pace for their personal best. We got a great race here, folks. Yeah, Neva looks like still, you can tell that he's definitely practiced this job a lot. The fact that he's able to hit a lot of these planes super far away is really hard to do. You have to really understand how your bullets are going to fly before you shoot them. And this right now, that is a freaking great ACES.
That was so clean.
That is
That was impressive.
Awesome ACES. Yeah, I don't have an exact time on that. If Nave wishes to share his time with the chat, he definitely can, but that looked really clean. I didn't see him like miss many shots. There were only a couple of planes that were far away. The main strat here is you want to try, this sounds stupid, but one of the best tips I can give anybody is you just want to try and minimize the amount of time between kills. Like I said, it sounds stupid, but the planes all fly in packs. So if you really just focus on like one bundle of planes at a time and try and get those guys down, you'll end up getting a lot of planes really, really quickly. And if one ends up flying into you that you can damage boost, that's even better.
Also, info from good old Nave, he golded that split by 3.6 seconds.
Yeah, so Nave with back-to-back golds on two of the hardest jobs in the episode is freaking insane, but he's not out of the woods yet. As we said, day 2 is the gauntlet before the actual gauntlet in episode 6. There is just no easy job in this day. Even this one, there's a very difficult cutscene skip, which is not 100% consistent when using rocket boots, so I'm very interested to see if either of our runners end up foregoing rocket boots to maintain your normal physics and to use the consistent gem setup. But yeah, how do you feel about day 2 of Strava? What do you have to say here?
Definitely interested to see how the Speedy and the Beast cutscene skip goes for both of them. But other than that, just the big things I'm looking forward to are Ghost Attacks, this cutscene skip for Beauty and the Beast, and also how Giant Wolf Massacre goes. It's going to get very interesting here. I feel like things could change hands again if things do go unfortunately.
Brother, we could seriously see like multiple lead changes on this day. It's that crazy. I'm like, I got goosebumps right now. It sounds stupid, but I'm excited for this, man. It's so playoffs.
Now the thing is here, as you mentioned the gym setup, I'm guessing that's the traditional setup here. I know Bacon
Yes.
Man recently found a setup himself that he uses, and that I think some other runners have found a bit to be also consistent. So, be interested to see which one that runners do decide to use here.
Yes. Bites throwing a trigger bomb there by mistake. But yeah, I am aware of that setup. I have seen people do it. I've seen Bacon do it. If it works 100% for them, great. The only reason I say it wasn't consistent was that, and this is a really bad time to be bringing this up, I'm really not doing a great job with keeping my mouth shut in some regards, but Nave, I remember, had a multitude of episode 3 runs recently where he used the Bacon setup, and he just didn't get the skip. So I really don't know what he's gonna do, because he's also told me he doesn't want to forego rocket boots because it's way slower, and he's got a point. But at the same time, see, this is why I'm so excited to travel. I'm literally shaking in my boots, but like any one of the, I don't know why I said shaking in my boots. I'm barefoot right now in my room, but shaking, and like any big blemish, any big hit can be the next big part of the run. Things can get super exciting real quick. Things can drop on a dime, and it's coming down to the wire.
Yep,
I
we're in the
think
part of-
as of now, this is the closest match I've had the pleasure of commentating. So, brother, I'm happy you're here for me with it.
Yep, we're definitely into the part of episode 3 where you need to grab your bootlaces and just try your best to keep it going. So, and I'm sure both runners can easily do that.
I have no doubt both of these runners are two people I have known since I've joined the community. They're both very skilled, very respectable guys. And regardless of who wins, I've got to congratulate both these gentlemen and the gentlemen on their teams for an absolutely phenomenal tournament race. I think this has been what people have wanted to see. So we'll see how it goes. Nave, of course, not foregoing rocket boots. He's going for the Bacon setup, so we'll have to see if it's consistent or if this is a big turning point, if Bites is going to have a moment to close this back up. Close this gap back up. Put Australia back in the lead.
Nave gets it.
And he gets the skip. No, he doesn't.
No, he does not.
Okay.
Wow.
But that is arguably the better outcome.
Yeah,
because
it's
he
better
could
than
have died.
just died. Yep, Nave's PB's dead, but
Oh, that's so unfortunate, though. I've had that happen to me before, and I think that is... So, what I think happened was, I don't think, because of Rocket Boots physics, he was too close to the trigger. And so, Sly's position in the cutscene kind of, like, reset, and he started running before he hit the ground and died. At least I think that's what happened, because I've had that happen to me a multitude of times, and that's my educated guess. But yeah, just unfortunate for Nave that happened, and now if Bites can hit this skip, this is practically dead even. So there's a huge moment coming up here for the Outback in this race. Bites also not foregoing Rocket Boots, so he's going to have the same physics to try and deal with as he does this skip. We'll have to see if he knows the Bacon setup. I'm assuming he does. He's a great player. If he's going to go for it, if he has something else. He's also taking, I don't think the extra damage matters. Shouldn't.
it shouldn't.
He needs 2 hits anyways. He needs 2 hits anyways, it doesn't matter. And this is the Bacon Man setup.
Yep.
And Bites
Gets it.
gets the skip. Here we go. Nave just gets out of the fight. But Bites is still right there. And at the most, this is like 20 seconds apart. That gap that the Outback might be further ahead by at the start of the stream. They might just be all tied up, in a sense. Oh, do not touch your monitor, ladies and gentlemen. Do not touch your mouse pad, your mouse. This is where it gets fun. This is ACES, baby. We're all in for it.
Now we're going into Giant Wolf Massacre.
Oh, I absolutely loathe this job. I will say it again. I personally just think that you've got to worry about managing guards. On Nave's side, I don't see a flashlight guard down there, which I think is actually great because that's one of the most common guards that can mess him up. That bunny, though, is not giving me much confidence because he can just chase any guards. The thing is, like, being attached to a guard makes the wolf a lot harder to shoot. And it also makes doing the cutscene skip at the end of this section with the bomb virtually impossible. Because, like, trying to time the bomb and the period of which when you can shoot the wolf all at the same time, it's just, like, in my opinion, it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely if the wolf is going towards any guard at the end here, it's just not worth it to even go for the cutscene skip. It's just better to watch the short cutscene here.
I agree. Because I think this skip only saves, like, what, 7 seconds? If that. Maybe not even that.
Yeah, I know it's not a big time save, but I think it's more than 7 seconds. I myself wouldn't personally risk it if it was that small, but I'm sure it's larger.
Like I said, I mean, but it depends on your logic, because like I said, look at this gap. And also, unfortunately for Nave, we do see the flashlight guard down there. Got to be careful not to take too much damage. The fact that he's trying to avoid damage here makes me think he's not going to go for it. And also for like Nave's own personal sake, PP is dead, so I guess he might really want to play it safe. Yeah, the fact that he didn't take damage there makes me think he's just gonna quick shoot full of darts and call it a day.
Yep.
There we go. See what Bites does though. I think he might also be foregoing it. This wolf here, okay, he's not locked onto the guard. So Bites is alright.
Now we'll see how guard spawns work for both of these runners, because sometimes they just don't want to spawn in specific locations, and you have to just go somewhere else and take a time loss.
Bites looks like he's going to take the damage to try and go for the ending skip. So, see if he gets this real quick before we talk about Nave. And he didn't get it, but he didn't die.
He
So
didn't die. Well, that's the better thing.
yeah. So
looks like he shot the wolf, and the bomb exploded on like the same frame.
Yes. They've had a little bit of trouble with this pig on the roof. So yeah, the thing about the guards with this job, consistently at the start, I find that section in the courtyard is very consistent. You can consistently get like 6 guards right around that area to meet a good portion of your quota. Then you're most likely going to have to run out into like this area in the field, maybe up there where the playing runway is that Sly goes off of. And this, like here, like you said, Ostrava, this can be a lot more inconsistent. And when there's a lot of smaller guards like this that you have to hit twice, it can be really annoying. Nave also, we're seeing you're having a little bit of trouble with that. Not getting... he's getting alright spawns, I guess. He only has 2 guards left, so he doesn't need much after this.
Yeah, Nave's spawns have been pretty good so far.
Yeah, I think I saw one more up there that he's going to get. Yeah, relatively quick. He hits this guy really quick, which... Just don't fall in the water, because that'll instantly kill the wolf. Yeah, that works. Okay, that's fine.
Decent.
I'd say. Yeah, it's an absolutely fine Giant Wolf Massacre, especially since he didn't do the bomb skip. Perfectly fine. And Bites missed it, so it didn't end up mattering. And now here comes the big kahuna. First of all, I want to see... I would imagine Dave goes for this cutscene skip. I think he probably has to. There's one you can do here. It's a Death Abuse with Trigger Bomb. Will.
Nice.
Very nicely done.
Also good to reset his juice meter so he can move around the shell a lot quicker.
Yeah, that too. That's a big thing about missing that cutscene skip is like you won't refill your juice, and so like you said, yeah. Bites here. I think he's having a little bit of trouble getting this last guard.
Yeah, those last guards give some issues.
Alright.
There we go.
Yeah, no problem there. Alright. Big moment coming up for Nave and the Buccaneers. While not the last thing he has to do, it is arguably the biggest point he has left in the run. Can he do it, ladies and gentlemen? And if he can, an upset is looking all the more probable. And he gets it!
Easy ghost hacks.
Absolutely clutch from the self-proclaimed king of Holland. And Nave with an absolutely clutch hit puts the undefeated regular season champion Australian Outback on the brink of elimination. Don't go anywhere as Bites is coming up on Ghost Tax. A big moment too. Oh gosh. But Nave hit all the tricks. Do the Outback have any time left? Are they gonna need another screw up from Nave? How many tricks does Bites have left in the bag to save the undefeated season? Are we gonna see both teams that got a first round bye go out in the semifinals?
Who knows? See in a bit.
As we see Bites going. Fortunately having a little bit of...
Oh, we have no idea.
I couldn't even tell.
I
I
didn't
couldn't
see
even
it.
tell if he got it, yeah.
We won't know until this next act.
I'll find out in like 5 seconds. I would like to say he got it, but I don't know. He didn't die, so that's something, but if he didn't get it, he's still losing like a minute. We'll find out. Either way, Nave's on the last computer. Right, he got it. Alright.
Easy.
Oh. Settle down now, y'all.
Yes, jeg har full tilgang. Vent. Koden er ustabil. Alt går fortere.
Yeah, this is like I said before, just hats off to both of these players with the consistency of the tricks and the setups. Like, you can tell that both of these two have been running this game for quite some time, that they've really given their all to it. And they have certainly given the audience, these whole teams, like, ladies and gentlemen, I want to see like a huge round of applause for both these teams, regardless of who wins. It's going to be a freaking awesome ending, and I'm just so happy to see how this race turned out for both of them, and I hope that both of them end up finishing strong. We'll find out. Oh, we'll find out how it goes, though.
Yeah, both these teams have definitely showed off a great number of skill. They're all playing their hearts out. It's amazing to see.
I think these are arguably like, well, they are two of the best teams left in the fray, because there's 3 teams left in the fray. But if the regular season wasn't already anything to go off of, these two teams are just absolutely great, filled with a bunch of great players that have absolutely fought their way to this position. They've all worked as a team. They've all contributed their own individual skill sets. And it's been an absolute joy to see how they've played it. And this might not even be a gap, like I said, depending on how we count it. Like, Australia could literally gain 25 seconds, and this is basically even. So we don't even know. But I don't know how Restream is going to count it. We'll have to find out.
We'll see. They will let us know.
Oh. Maybe we see. I don't think he went for the push boost. I think that was intentional with the square attack downwards. Alright, but yeah, to kind of get back into the calm of the commentary here. Operation. Like I said, the Murray section isn't too bad. The Baron section, if you know what you're doing, isn't too bad either. You really just have to, not the boss fight, the plane section. Just make sure you don't boost too much into the backside of his plane. Otherwise, you'll die, take some massive damage, and you'll have to take more time to try and kill the Baron. Other than that, boss fight, it's similar to Panda King in Sly 1. You mash the D-pad in the direction that you want to hit, and hit him as fast as you can. And in this section here, we figured out a route for the trackers. I'm interested to see if either of our players will be doing push boosts or be doing some like Mad Lad strats to get between the blimps. I would imagine at this point that both of them are just going to probably play it safe. Bites maybe. If he feels that he really needs it, he might go balls to the walls, but we'll find out.
They're doing the normal struts here.
Oh, Beaver trying to rig the match. Meanwhile, he's trying to find Nave's like power cables, give him the shoulder.
Beaver gnawing power cables, Bites wishing a sound block on Nave, but
oh, no power, losing all the bites. It all comes through. It's all about the gaming. Full circle. It's all interconnected, I swear. Nave, will he be a Mad Lad? No, he's just going to take the bounce panel. I don't blame him at all. You can, if you're insane, you can do a push boost, or if you're even more insane, you can just do a disguise jump. But the disguise jump is really tight. But yeah, I don't blame Nave for doing that at all. He's got a Murray section, and he's got one load left. But he's coming into the home stretch, and Bites and the Outback still not going away, trying to save their season. And with a little bit of time to spare.
The tech guy chilling out to rig the match.
Can we also just, like, completely unrelated, can we talk about how malicious this section is? I feel like we never, on Dave's side, we never talked about this as kids, but, like, all these guys are literally just crashing and disintegrating in planes. And, like, they're all just freaking dead.
They have parachutes, they're fine.
Do they have parachutes? Okay. Unless you're, what is it, like, what team did they say in, like, the one mugshot line, like, they stole their parachutes for 1 year? Those guys are freaking dead. Like, I'm sorry about all the feel-good, like, kids story stuff. No, those guys are just absolutely dead. This competition should have been shut down. This game never should have happened. But I'm not complaining. I guess, as awful as that is to say, but they're picks. Right. Shouldn't say that either. My gosh. Absolutely shouldn't say that either.
Nave getting to the final section here. I'm gonna take out the Baron Phase 1 and the wonderful plane.
Se etter baronen. Tar du knekken på ham, konkurransen over.
Alright.
Og vær forsiktig med gassen.
Alright, this is it. Bites has 2 pillars left.
Jeg greier meg.
Nave has a plane and the pilot of a plane. Does he have audio?
He does.
He does. All right. Nave is in the clear. Doesn't boost into the Baron's backside. He's going to kill him relatively quickly. Very easy to spot. No worry at all. Right before Dimitri.
Nave with a very quick Baron kill there.
Yeah. That's the fastest you can possibly do it because the game doesn't progress with the cutscene until Dimitri stops talking. So we got that as fast as he possibly could. And this is it. Now might be a good time to check the exact gap here on the stream to determine potential tiebreakers. We're probably going to have to do a recount anyways based on the start of the run. But like I said, both of these runners in a great spot. And all Nave has left between him and the Bloodbath Bay Buccaneers pulling off the upset of the season and going to the ACES finals is one future Cooper Gang member in disguise. This is it.
Boiler Shadows. We don't know who that is. That's the Black Baron.
Oh, right. Oh my gosh, how could I possibly know? I'm so sorry. No! It's spoiled. It's a dramatic moment. I absolutely ruined it now. I'm sorry, guys. I'm the absolute worst. You're right. Spoilers. How could I? Baron also taking a really weird path on Bite's side. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
Bites must have left him improperly to where he took a different path.
He must have. Well, it's going to cost him because he definitely didn't destroy him in time before Beaver started talking. Beaver, what? He didn't destroy him in time before Beaver gnawed Nave's jumper cable. No, he's alright. Nave took a little bit of damage there, but he is going to get a little bit of health back from all of these pigs, so should be alright in that sense. I guess he could really use push attack here if he wanted to, but I don't think he's gonna. It can be faster if you use it like optimally. Looks like he's just gonna be sticking to what he knows. Doing this the D-pad strat. I think he's only fallen off one time here, so he's alright. Getting hit by those big punches can be really detrimental because like Sly's get up animation is pretty slow.
Also, you get launched in the sky from those uppercuts as well.
Yeah, you do get launched in the sky. And then if you fall off the plane, that's also really what loses a lot of time. You lose a good number of seconds just by falling off there. It can be pretty unfortunate.
Nave in the final phase.
In the final phase, any assist from the vengeance, he might not. And it may not matter. He gets it, and that is it! And the Bloodbath Bay Buccaneers
have finished
the undefeated season and defeats the Australian Outback to advance to the ACES finals, where they will play the Venice Vipers and the man who made the whole tournament, the Dandy Man. Hats off to the Buccaneers and hats off to the Australian Outback on an absolutely phenomenal season. As we await for Bites to finish up here, he's going to end up finishing up the race. We are, of course, going to talk to every wonderful team member in the commentary booth, should they choose. I think it's going to be great to hear from every one of these racers after we finish. And I'm assuming we're going to be letting Bites finish up here before we end it on the restream. But Ostrava, thoughts on the race real quick before we get to the interview?
It was very amazing. Like, just came down to those things. Like, I'm sure both teams, their things went according to plan. It just things didn't play out as well as they could for both teams. Like, it was definitely a great show. Definitely did not come down it till the very end. Like,
No, and they were leading in this episode. The Outback were, as Bites finishes up, GG to the Outback, they were leading at the start of this episode. But Nave doing... Great partner in Grandma Strava. Absolute goats.
oh, we're getting attacked.
Yeah, we are getting actually attacked. Gentlemen, oh my gosh. First of all, shout outs to everyone in this voice call. You guys are all amazing at the game. Thank you for pouring your hearts out into the game and for giving everybody a phenomenal race. And congratulations both to the Outback on a phenomenal season and to the Buccaneers for pulling the upset and advancing to the ACES finals. How you guys feeling?
I'm
going to say,
One second,
I'm going to
Stevens,
say
can you
same.
double check that they can hear us? Because Remos
I can hear you, Steven.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, where do we even start? I guess for the start of it, I kind of want to do everything from the top, unless Remo is saying the commentary is out.
We're
No,
good.
we're good.
We're good.
We are good? Okay. Want to make absolutely sure before we started. But yeah, I guess the way we usually do this, let's start from the top in episode 1. I guess Tootesie, unfortunately, isn't joining us in call to commentate on it. But Professor, you've been running Slide 2 all tournament. How'd you feel about the performance?
Well, first off, I want to say it was a very big honor to race against Tootesie despite losing by 2.5 minutes. Really, it just really shows how far I've come with Slide 2 episode 1. When I first started this competition, I was lucky to get a 38, and just today I got a 30-11. So I've dropped
GG's.
I've dropped 8 minutes in this category. I have improved so much. I've learned Slide 2 and 3. So much has happened in 6 months, and holy crap, man! I can't believe I'm here. One pace run, 7 different ACES competitions. Well, technically 6. 6 ACES competitions, and everything. I can't believe, like, all my hard work actually paid off.
Dude, I mean, well said. I think there's a lot of people in this voice call and in this community who can really appreciate and relate to that. Ostrava and I, at some point in this commentary, we were talking about sort of the build up to where we are now in like all the games we've run. And yeah, dude, I mean, 38 to 30, that is no small feat. And I have no doubt that you'll continue to improve. So GG's to you, GG's to Tootesie, and thank you guys for playing. Sure. What's up?
No problem for helping out, but I don't have anything for you.
Nope, Ostrava. You're the reason I got the sub 31 in that, because Ostrava gave me some coaching right before pace, and yeah, without that coaching, I would not have gotten such a good run. As well, Mapio and Nave always there for me. Thank y'all both so much. I knew if I put up a fight, we would win.
Yeah, well, put up a fight, everybody did. Let's be real for a minute. Like I said, there was no bad run in this race. Make no mistake. I think everybody just played super well in their respective episodes, which brings me a little further over to Slide 4 with episode 4-2, one of the most popular episodes in this entire tournament and certainly one of the most difficult to run. So, Beaver, I know you have had to run 4-2 a lot in this tournament. You've been very comfortable with it. I think, like, the only real mistake I can recall was the missed spiral dive in Jailbreak. Other than that, dude, absolutely phenomenal episode 2. How do you feel about it?
I thought I played alright until the second half, and then I thought it was pretty bad. Like you said, I missed the the spiral dive jump, which was stupid, shouldn't have happened. But yeah, I thought the first half was good. Yeah, I don't think any of us had our best day today, and then we lost like over a minute to tech issues as well. So, but yeah, I thought I played okay until the second half.
Yeah, like I said, the tech issues on Byte's part as well were also pretty unfortunate, but I still think you guys were great. Remo, since he's in chat, I think he definitely put it best last time with Sly 4, especially where as somebody who's run it a lot, you kind of just have to eat big losses like that, and it absolutely sucks. Make no mistake, because mistakes in Sly 4 more than some other games just absolutely suck. They eat away at you, but you kept going, so appreciate you hanging in there, and it's really cool to see that. Mapioto as well. You were definitely hanging in there. You were definitely putting up a great EP2. How'd you feel about the performance?
The run was absolutely amazing. I was +4 to PB at the end. Could have been a PB even if I didn't have a bad start with the communication. But yeah, I just feel like absolutely clean through the whole run. Didn't have many mistakes. Maybe on optimizations, but that's about it. I called this blind date, which is quite important for me. Quite shocked I played 4-2 today. I was grinding more slide 2. But yeah, I think I went decent enough to hold the to, to not get any more time loss that we already have to finish it up. And yeah, that's it. I think that's everything.
All right. Ostrava, did you have anything to add to that before we move on to the last leg?
No, I don't. Very great runs, both of you. It was an honor to see.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, Mapioto, definitely concur to that. Like I said, there's a lot of small optimization stuff, and I'm guilty of that too, believe me. I haven't run this episode in a very long time, so it's only gotten more difficult. And speaking of only getting more difficult, episode 3, oh my gosh, what a way to end it. I'll start with Bites. Bites, I know you have had to run Sly 3 a lot in this tournament, and I think you had a lot of time to practice episode 3 before it. I think you definitely did a great job hitting a lot of the tricks. How did you feel about it?
Other than the RNG parts, I thought I played pretty well for the skips themselves. That's like the one thing that I focus more on is getting those death fade outs as consistently as possible, and they worked out for the most part. Besides the massacre, I went for it and went a little early, but that's because my frame rate was like dropping real bad from the gas.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think the practice that I did with 3-3 went pretty well. Getting into that.
You know, I definitely think you still put up a very solid showing. And to your credit as well, we were talking about it once you guys got to Frame Team Belgium. That was a big turning point in the run, and that was a mixture of RNG. For one, Dave, I want to segue into you like in the same sense, but Bites, for comparison, you got absolutely hosed on Frame Team Belgium. I'm not afraid to say that. I think the truck was just absolutely awful in that job.
Yeah.
Nave, you freaking golded Team Belgium and ACES. That never happens. Like, never in the same run for a man of your skill, especially who's like near the top 3, if not already top 3. So I know the one thing you're upset about, probably at least, and not to hark on it, because once again, amazing run by both teams. I loved watching all of you, but the one thing that I know you're going to be upset about was the Beauty and the Beast cutscene skip. I know that you've had some previous struggles with that. How did that affect the run, and how do you feel about it overall?
Yeah, well, first, you're right about those two specific jobs. FTB is my least favorite job in the whole episode because the RNG can really suck. And I think luckily I just had much better RNG. I think that was kind of the theme for the whole race between me and Bites was I just happened to get better RNG and he had worse RNG, but his actual play was pretty good. And then yeah, the aces though, that was actually insane. That was, I mean, my best aces yet, and still 5 seconds off calm gold because the calm gold's ridiculous. But
213?
I got a
If I have that right?
213, calm gold's
Yeah.
208. Still 213. Pretty great. Very happy with that. But then Beauty and the Beast, I practiced the new rocket boot setup beforehand, and it was fine. I thought it'd be great. It seemed a lot easier. Just kind of got unlucky there, and I think I thought it was kind of over from that point. But again, I think just the bad RNG for the other team, very unfortunate. Just kind of helped me pull ahead. But yeah, otherwise, really good run. I mean, I was on a very strong 52 pace outside of that bad BCSS. And really happy with how my run was and how my team's runs were. And it was a good race overall.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like I said, I know everybody in here, most people at least, they definitely have some things that like I wish they could have done better. I know Beaver said that. Bites, like I said, the RNG I think was a big part too. But both of you still played great. I think the execution was pretty good, and I think both of you made it an absolute blast. It was a fight, and it was an honor to be able to commentate this match. Seriously, this is probably like one of the best Sly Gold's events I have ever had the pleasure of being a part of commentary or racing, period. And so thank you guys for not only having amazing seasons and having amazing fight and drive, but just for being here and for really making this what it is. So that being said, that's all I've got from me. Ostrava, do you have any final thoughts?
I don't. Thank you guys all for the wonderful, very tight match. But thank you all for watching as well. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, the Buccaneers are on their way to the ACES finals, where they will be playing the Venice Vipers. The merch is going to scroll by here as we end the stream. Don't forget it. Shell out some cash, support your favorite team, support the stream, and thank you all for being a part of commentary, running the community, everything. And until we see you guys in the finals, thank you very much for watching. We appreciate your time. And stay sneaky, y'all. Until next time.
Oh, so with the bracket we have coming up here with the Buccaneers
Yes.
winning, they'll be moving on to the final against the Vipers. But this is the bracket as it is. Bombers were defeated in round one. Sabres were defeated in round one. Then Jackalopes were defeated by the Vipers, moving them to the finals. Then now the Buccaneers have taken themselves to the finals.
Yeah.
And this final itself will be a best of three, it seems. So it will be a very long and very arduous match between the Vipers and the Buccaneers.
Two teams that have absolutely played their hearts out all season, and two teams that have definitely fought to get here, defeating opponents that they previously fought twice, and defeating two really good units. Definitely not an easy road here for either team, but the parity is real. The parity is alive, and I'm really looking forward to the best of three, and hopefully you guys are too. So yeah, all right then. With that all being said, I guess now I'll run the ending back here. The merch may roll back around here as we finally get to the ending. I say finally. I'm sad this is over, Ostrava. Like I said, it's been an absolute blast. Thank you for being here. Thank you for commentating with me. It's been an absolute blast. And until we see all of you next time in the finals for Racing for Gold, whatever it may be next, take care and have an awesome one.